matter.
Call or text the Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
Shared a couple highlights and quotes there as we get going on a Hot Take Monday. One of them being a touchdown pass in the spring game, which you could have heard right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Chuck's going to be with us in about 30 minutes to give his reaction. Like what I saw from Taylon Green, like what I saw for some other guys on Saturday, in really a game that you had a chance to watch or listen to, and maybe give your first quotes, your first thoughts on this football team during spring that maybe you haven't had thus far. You heard Scotty Scheffler winning his second Masters in 3 years. Boy, his game is hot right now. He has been unbelievable. Even in the midst of his pregnant wife about to go into labor, still managed to keep his focus, keep his intensity, and win his second green jacket by just 27 years old, 2 years younger than me. And then the third highlight there, the baseball team getting blanked in game number 3. They lose their first SEC baseball series of the year to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yes, Alabama is good in football, apparently basketball, and baseball now. It was unfortunate how the bats were not hot in Sunday's performance, but you still probably going to be number 1 or number 2 when the standings come out later today. It's a baseball team that has a lot of talent, just maybe some things to work through after their first road series loss of the year.
All right, that's where we begin on a Hot Take Monday. It is brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. They had a big time with the NWA RV show and outdoor party. The party continues at Wheels RV. The best selection of Grand Design, Forest River, and Brinkley Model Zs, and the full lineup of Brinkley, the hottest selling RV on the road right now. So if you're looking to have a great time with spring and summer camping, maybe you want to get started. They've got a variety of models even for the kind of the entry level to see if this is exactly what you want to do and how you want to spend your weekends. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale.
So how was that on Friday? I listened to the full podcast.
Oh, we had a great time. We had a great time up there, and most of their selection they had moved up to Rogers. I say most, about a lot was about half full, but Chuck and I had a good time there, and always look forward to going back to Wheels RV.
Good to see Chris and Lee J and the rest of the guys. Hopefully next time I will be in town when we go to that weekend. But I listened to again the full about an hour of the 3-hour show on Friday. I heard Clay discussing his article on hitthatline.com on just kind of the backstory of what went down with John Calipari, and I know that was a big part. Were people still talking about it this weekend? I mean, give me a sense of what happened. I know, again, Scheffler in the Masters, baseball team losing, and then the spring game were main topics, but is that still a prevalent topic here on Monday mornings? It kind of subsided a little bit.
Most everyone that I was out of town. I went to a trade convention for a broadcasting convention this weekend, so I was not around the homeland, so to speak. But the questions I was getting via text and people I talked to were, when are we going to start hearing about players for Calipari? That's still, I think, front and center on a lot of people's minds.
I'm surprised we didn't hear one, and maybe it was Cal comes across to a lot of you as a classy guy. Maybe he didn't want to try and pluck a Kentucky player away before the introduction of Pope, their new head basketball coach, where they had a raucous crowd in Lexington. I cannot wait to see the first game of the revamped rivalry between Muss and Pope. He brought in Antoine Walker, Tony Delk, who were both a part of that 96 national championship team, and I think that's going to be a really fun game in Rupp. But I get a sense that it's going to happen this week. I think you're going to have a couple, not just one or two. I think you can, and I say a couple, couples too. I think you'll have a few this week, and then it'll really ramp up. And I cannot wait to see the reaction of the Kentucky faithful when either a current player on the roster decides to transfer or a guy that was committed to Kentucky who has already backed out of his national letter of intent ends up signing with John Calipari. That's probably the biggest, if you're talking Cal this week in terms of, like you said, who he brings in.
I think we got to go back to his words and remember what he said, which was, this may take a little bit longer because there's guys in the NBA draft process that still got to make a final decision. Those are the ones he's really got his eye on. Who do you want to be on this roster? future NBA players. Solid prospects that are definitely going to be lottery pick conversation pieces. Those are the kind of players. So if you got to wait a little bit longer to get those guys to let them make up their minds, then by all means, you know the timeline, do it.
Yeah.
So, but those were his words. So I'd be thinking that, it's not going to be anytime soon this roster is completely filled out.
DJ Wagner kind of stands out. I don't think Dillingham or Shepard, the two of the other freshman guards, I don't think that you're going to have a chance of getting either of those away. They're pretty high up on draft boards now. Where they are on draft boards versus the actual evaluation they get from different NBA scouts and general managers sometimes is a completely different story. Dave Van Horn a little disappointed in his team's performance, and I don't blame him for this weekend. We're going to hear from him coming up. We're going to hear from Sam Pittman, his thoughts on the spring game. Did you get a chance to watch or listen to any of that? I know you were busy this weekend.
Being on Network Plus, I couldn't DVR that, and I haven't had a chance to go back. I have read some of Tom and Bob's recounts of it, and I've read some of the conversation, but no, I have not gotten a chance because I was traveling. I traveled Friday, then Saturday. It's not one of them things you could DVR and watch when you got home, so I got to go back and catch up on that.
Taylor Green doesn't need much, y'all. He's not Matt Jones fast, but he sure looks good when he's running those QB reads and when he gets out in the pocket. Now, albeit you did have defenders that were not allowed to tackle him or bring him to the ground, but it doesn't look like he needs a lot of space. And that is going to be, I heard Chuck say it on Friday, that's going to be one of the great equalizers with this Arkansas offense and really the entire football team is his creative ability at times. Now, you still need him to run the offense. You still need him to go through reads and whatnot. When a play breaks down or a blitz or something happens, his ability to get outside the pocket and make plays with his feet is going to be a huge asset to Bobby Petrino, Sam Pittman, and this Arkansas offense last year. I liked what I saw from Andrew Armstrong and Tyrone Broden. Pittman said some specific things about Tyrone, who looks a lot better. He's doing some family stuff, and then Armstrong had a really productive and I think an underrated season last year, but you'd like to see him become the alpha dog, the number one clear target for this wide receiver room, and I think he has a chance to do that. Speaking of number one, Scotty Scheffler, what a performance. Little different than how it went 2 years ago, but he dons the green jacket once again in Augusta, Georgia. We're going to talk about him at numerous times this morning. I'm curious to see what the ratings look like, if he can be the guy that takes golf moving forward. Tiger Woods had his worst performance ever, and he still got a standing ovation at the end. He did still make the cut, which he passed a record, I believe, in that category. But
24 straight.
Yeah, it's just not – it was just a dreadful finish for Tiger Woods, unfortunately, at the Masters.
All right, that's where we begin on this Hot Take Monday. We're brought to you by our friends at West Ark Plumbing and Expert Drain Services. Put this number in your phone so that anytime you have a plumbing need, you know exactly who to call. They're your experts, too, for water, sewer, gas, and grease lines. All right, here's the number, 479-646-5151. 479-646-5151. Keep that in your phone. And if you have a hot water tank that ruptures, you've got plumbing that's dripping and leaking, and you need someone, or you got a grease line that's backed up, you call the experts at West Ark Plumbing and Expert Drain Services. 479-646-5151.
More of the Morning Rush when we return.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
This is the Morning Rush.
Arkansas, 80 yards.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith, As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home too. So sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured with the largest showroom in Northwest Arkansas, located at 1907 Town West Drive in Rogers and 416 North 10th Street in Fort Smith. Give them a call today at 844-PDS-DOOR or online at precisiondoornwa.com. Financing is available. Precision Overhead Door voted Best Garage Door Company of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Precision Overhead Door.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
There's more to a tractor than just horsepower. A tractor also needs weight to get that horsepower to the ground. With TYM, a heavier tractor comes standard. Many of the TYM models weigh more for the horsepower than comparable tractors from the big names, and tractors that weigh more do more. See Bush Tractor at their new location at 6100 South Zero in Fort Smith, or log on to bushtractor.com to see how they can upgrade your productivity.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shop, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by 7320 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith or call 648-3342. You can also catch them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
There's big news in the mobile sports betting business. Bet Saracen was just named the 15th largest sports book in America. That's because Arkansans like to do business with a winner. Find all your winners on Bet Saracen. Download it today and look for my RR prop bet specials. I pick them, you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 4th Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
That's a lot of tires, and look at even one Razorback.
The 3-1. There's a drive-by straight line to deep left field, and they go back-to-back in the first inning.
Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McLarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963.
So we'll talk some more baseball coming up. You heard one of the highlights from Tuscaloosa, Alabama this weekend is Jared Spraylock. I believe followed Blake McLaughlin, if I remember that right, with a back-to-back home run. Arkansas won game 1, lost game 2 in 10 innings, and then just got shut out yesterday. But we'll talk more football coming up in just a sec.
Hey, Arkansas law enforcement officials have announced they're going to be conducting a drug-impaired driving enforcement blitz. It's going to be all across the state of Arkansas, April 19th 20th and 21st. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DWI. It's an intensified effort to crack down on drug-impaired driving, and officers will be stopping anyone under the suspicion of drug-impaired driving during that 3-day blitz that's coming up. So you just like drunk driving, drug driving is impaired driving, which means it is illegal in all 50 states, including Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. So they, with this obtained, whether it's obtained legally or illegally, whether it's prescription or not, driving while drug impaired poses a threat to driver safety, vehicle passengers, and to others on the road. Just remember, if you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DWI. This message brought to you by the Arkansas State Police.
So I know you were all asking about the offensive line on Friday when addressed about that group. Here is what Dave Van Horn had to say about just the line overall. And
Dave Van Horn.
Sorry, did I say Dave Van Horn?
Yeah,
I'm looking at this clip on that. So I'm not seeing that. I'll talk about something else. So he also talked about the wide receiver development from Andrew Armstrong and Tyrone Broden, and just kind of how they've really stepped it up a little bit, particularly Broden. I think we saw a little bit with Andrew Armstrong last year, had 764 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 56 catches. I think he could be a 1,000-yard wide receiver in this offense. Broden had the game-winning touchdown against Florida, but ended up only with 15 catches for 109 yards. Had himself a good spring game, I thought, from watching. Here's what Sam Pittman had to say about both those guys.
It was good to have Tyrone back and good to have Armstrong back. And, those guys make us better. And obviously both of them had some injuries, family situations, but it was really good to have them back. And they have all gotten confidence built into Tyrone. He's always been very, very athletic, but I don't know if he's always thought that he was a great receiver. I think some of the catches he made today proves that we need him. A lot of people would want him, but it says a lot about his maturity. Of course, he's an older kid, but I think he had a reason and a purpose to go out there today and play well.
Had an outstanding touchdown grab in this game, as did Andrew Armstrong, which was pretty fun to watch. And if you missed it, here's Chuck's call on that.
To the right hip of his quarterback. Green's going to throw deep left side. Got a man in the end zone. Pass is caught. Touchdown, Arkansas. Armstrong. Perfect throw. 20 yards and a score.
So you return. Think about this. Now, there are issues on this football team. I will grant you that 1,000%. But you return Armstrong. You returned Luke Haas, who are probably your best 2 pass catchers from last season. In addition to those 2 gentlemen, you also got Washington back. You also got Broden back. You got Satania back. You got Tesla back. So I would say, and I don't have this, I think you returned 6 of your top 7 pass catchers, if I remember that right. It might even be all 7 of 7, but that's a lot of guys that, again, weren't that productive last year. I will grant you that 1,000%, but maybe in a revamped Bobby Petrino offense, new quarterback, new regime, they can find some brighter points in this offense this upcoming season.
Yeah, I mean, do you feel like the offense, when you look through the kind of the history with Briles and then, the transition you made last year, mid-year, with Dan Enos, do you feel like the offense under Pittman is in the best hands it's been in during his tenure as head coach? I mean, I know he hadn't played a game yet, but just what how do you feel about the offense and the state of its leadership and direction from an OC standpoint?
I know Arkansas fans really flocked to Bobby Petrino because of his success here, but that was 10-plus years ago. I want to see if, and they had an okay, it wasn't horrible, it wasn't great either, in College Station this last year. But the best offense they've had under Pittman was the offense in 2021 that led the Power 5 in rushing. That was outstanding. That scored 30, 40-plus points multiple times during the course of that season. So I think just on the surface, most of you would say that Bobby Petrino is a better offensive coordinator than Kendall Briles, and you're probably correct. But he's got to do it with this group. He's got to do it with this crop of players, which when you look at other SEC squads could be considered underwhelming. Now, just because you have the stars and the accolades next to your name doesn't mean you always perform like you're supposed to. But the hope is how you just laid it out, that it is in the best hands. I just don't know if I'm willing to say that based on what Kendall Briles was able to accomplish here 3 years ago, which is it was probably one of the more underrated offenses that Arkansas's had in the last 2 or 3 decades here.
I think that's fair, and I think that's a long way of saying I don't know, because that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know, but I think Bobby Petrino will find a way to get the most out of what they have here right now. I think there's still things up front on that offensive line that got to be fixed. I think they're squaring in on that personnel, but I think you've got 2 big targets at wide receiver and Luke Haas at tight end, and I think he'll use those 3 guys a lot coming out of the hands of his quarterback Green.
And my hot take is that Tyrone Broden will probably quadruple his numbers from last year's. Maybe not touchdowns. Maybe he doesn't have 12 touchdowns, but I see him getting 400 or 500 yards this upcoming season. I don't know if that's a hot take or a mild take, but he's not going to have a mere, unless he's injured, he's not going to have a measly 109 yards. He was adjusting from coming over from Bowling Green, as Andrew Armstrong was from coming over from Texas Commerce, XAM Commerce, and as was Isaac Tesla coming from Hillsdale College. They've had their SEC period. They've had their year under their belt. They know now what cornerbacks, linebackers, defenses are going to try and do for them this upcoming season. And they presumably have a better passing game coordinator in Bobby Petrino. I don't know if I can 100% say that Taylor Green's going to be a better quarterback overall than KJ. That's the hope. But that would lead me to believe that a lot of those guys are going to have more production than they did a good chunk of 2023.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think it'll be interesting to see how they use Green in that balanced, dual threat kind of attack. It's going to be different than the way Bobby used Tyler Wilson and Ryan Mallett, I think, in many ways. But you definitely did see the speed on that. Hey, we talked some baseball earlier. There's no better place to be this week. And coming up a couple of weekends left in SEC play than at Baum Walker Stadium for Arkansas baseball. SEC play halfway underway through the 10 series after this weekend. Don't miss out on the next big moments, including a midweek series with Texas Tech. If you're looking for tickets, go to the official Razorback Athletics marketplace for tickets at SeatGeek.com. The official resale marketplace of Arkansas Athletics, SeatGeek.com.
Tyler from Mountain View points out, I think this is a good point to make, that you can't really take away much from what Bobby Petrino did at Texas A&M because they were using Jimbo's offense and vernacular. He seems to have more leeway under Sam Pittman than he did under Jimbo Fisher, which would lead you to believe that he might be more productive offensively as the coordinator this year.
I think that's a fair take. All right, Chuck, coming up in just a second. We'll get back into some Coach Cal conversation, I'm sure, here in just a little bit. All of our basketball conversations are brought to you by the Lindbergh Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all of your real estate needs, go to LindberghTeam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
And we'll get some more thoughts on baseball, the Masters, and a game change this upcoming football season. All that's next.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
This is the Morning Rush.
Somebody get him a plane ticket for New York City.
Harry Robinson Salasol Ford wants to buy or trade for your vehicle today, and they will give you top dollar. Pre-owned car values are at historic all-time highs, and your car today is worth more than it ever will be again. If you are driving a 2013 model or newer with 120,000 miles or less, bring it to Harry Robinson Salasol Ford, and they'll give you more than any other dealer. Even if you don't want to buy a new car, they'll still buy yours. Harry Robinson Salasol Ford, 1 mile south of exit 308 off I-40 in Salasol.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
Join the March Mayhem and catch every game at 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith. Open 7 days a week with daily specials. Enjoy bowling on one of their 14 lanes. Play pool on one of their 13 tables. Sit at the deluxe bar and indulge on gourmet food while the kids play at the fun arcade. Let the madness begin at 810 Billiards and Bowling, 5609 Rogers Avenue, Fort Smith. Come for the food, but stay for the fun.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance, and Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren, 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag technology without the headache.
Husbands, sons, daughters, honor your wife or mother for Mother's Day at the inaugural Mystery at the Fort Legacy Ball, benefiting Heart to Heart Pregnancy and Family Care Center on May 11th at the U.S. Marshals Museum. Buy your tickets today for this 1940s mystery dinner, coupled with an exciting night of investigative entertainment and lively dancing with the band Who Shot JR. For more information, call 479-452-2260.
The tires on your vehicle go round and round, but when they don't, go to Van Alma Tire. They have tires in their name. That's their specialty. Van Alma Tire is all about tires. They have all the name brands and private labels available for you and in stock. So when it comes to getting tires for your ride, it's worth the drive, and financing is available. Ask for details. Whatever your tire need, check out Van Alma Tires on Highway 64 between Van Buren and Alma. Ready to get you rolling on new tires at Van Alma Tire.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
I think if they played today, it's just my opinion, Malachi Singleton would probably be the second quarterback if you had to go that route. You know, we're not to the first game yet, but I'm going to tell you, KJ Jackson is the real deal. I would not be at all surprised if by the time we get to the eve of the season opener, he's not the number 2 quarterback.
That's the true freshman from Alabama who we got a glimpse of on Saturday in Donald W. Reynolds Raceback Stadium. Also saw Taylor Green, Jacoby Criswell, Malachi Singleton, and a handful of other Arkansas players. And we'll talk more football coming up. Mongo and Huntsville chiming in on the McLarty Daniel hotline saying that Kendall Browse can't hold Bobby Petrino's jockstrap. So he feels very emphatically that Arkansas has the best offensive coordinator under the Pittman era. But the first text of the morning was about John Calipari and this basketball team. So we'll circle back to that with Chuck coming up momentarily.
Hot Take Monday is always brought to you by Wheels RV. Chuck and I were there on Friday. Great time with Lee J. Chris and their team. They had a big weekend at the NWA RV show and outdoor party. You're looking for a way to get to the outdoors and do it different, a way to vacation different than you ever have before. Wheels RV can show you how. Check out the Brinkley Model Zs. It's got the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. You'll find it at Wheels RV. 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, and discover with Wheels RV.
Chuck, as Tommy reminded me before the show, it's the final day of tax season. Have you finished your taxes yet?
Yes, this is it. This is the day. Yes, I have.
And it's also, I'm going to probably butcher this. Does that sound like a turkey call?
Not
or
at
no,
all.
not a close.
Not even close.
I have not had lessons from our buddy Alan Everett in a while, but it is also the first day of turkey season. I know that some people listening this morning are making your plans or have already made your plans to do that, which I know people are excited about. So while we've had plenty of sports to discuss this weekend with the Masters, spring football, baseball team in Tuscaloosa, Calipari, the news still got in there. I know a lot of people are excited about that today as well, Tommy.
Yeah, I think people are trying to figure out when, it appears that the staff is pretty well set, or that's the reports. Chuck, I think a lot of people are still asking the question, hey, when are we going to see our first players named to this roster?
Well, I suspect that'll happen this week. I think we'll see a good bit of movement this week. The Nike Hoop Summit was over the weekend out in Portland, where you've got the top high school players in America, and they play against the top 19 and under players in America. And, this is where the best prospects really in the world go. And it was this past weekend, and I don't know where everybody was this weekend, to be honest with you, but I'm going to suspect that there were probably some new guys on our basketball staff who were either in Portland or had eyeballs on Portland or who knew exactly what was going on in Portland. I don't know that, but I suspect that. And I think we'll begin to see movement this week is the long answer to your question.
Go ahead.
I think you still got to go back to his words, John Calipari's words, and that was, this may take longer than you like because the NBA draft process has to play out, and some of the guys we'll target are in that process and have to pull their name out or stay in. And I think there's some prime targets he'll go after there. I'm just, going back to the words he used when he was introduced last week.
Yeah, and I mean, part of this, and look, I'm going to say some things I've said before, but part of it is we got to put two and two together. If you're waiting on a press release saying so-and-so, so-and-so has decided to play for the Razorbacks, I don't know that that's going to happen this week. But I think if you pay attention, you can get an idea. But a big guy at Kentucky enter into the transfer portal. Put two and two together. Look at the number of players that Calipari has signed over the years from the Nike Summit. I was looking at some of the numbers. They've got 38 NBA All-Stars that have played in that tournament. I think about 25% of them played for Cal.
Wow.
At either Kentucky or Memphis. So, again, put two and two together. If you're waiting on somebody to serve it to you on a tray and tell you exactly what the roster is going to look like, I don't know that that's going to happen this week.
But that's what I want.
But if you're adept at simple math, I think you'll be able to figure this stuff out. I mean, I really do.
How simple is the math?
Or just reading a profile. For example, Kevin Knox's little brother Carter, who Kevin played for Cal at Kentucky, has Chicken Man on his bio. It's not hard to figure out what that means. He is requested out of his national letter of intent with Kentucky. It is not hard to distinguish what that probably means by putting two and two together.
But I like silver platters.
I think it's great that everybody's anxious.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I think it's great that everybody wants to know. They're excited about getting there, but this is not a process that's going to come together over the next 3 or 4 days. But I do think by the time we talk next Monday morning that there will be some things for us to discuss regarding the roster.
Basketball-wise, Kentucky had the headlines this weekend with hiring Pope, and I thought their introduction, and I hate Kentucky basketball like the rest of you, but when they came in on a bus and you had Tony Delk and Antoine Walker and that 96 national championship team, it went from this is the worst hire ever to I felt like a lot more Kentucky fans have bought in the idea on this guy being their head basketball coach.
Clearly, without question, there was an effort put in place by the University of Kentucky to outdo Arkansas's introduction to John Calipari. It didn't matter who they named as head coach. Chuck, I thought that was all a production to make sure that their guy got introduced in a grander fashion than the Razorbacks introduced their former guy.
Oh, I don't know that they even had to make a concerted effort. I think the Kentucky fans were going to make certain of that. I mean, I've said this before. I mean, they are in terms of mass numbers, they're the top dog, so to speak. And I'm not surprised that they were able to do that. I didn't expect anything else from them.
I can't wait for that first game because it will be in Lexington this year. Hopefully they double up in Bud Walton Arena. Again, I've not been to Lexington in nearly a decade. I'm going to make that trek this year as long as it falls on a weekend. And I think the TV is going to really want that game because you've got these two. You've got an iconic coach and an iconic program. And I know Cal said that Arkansas is a blue blood program too, but I'll be honest, we're a tier below Kentucky. I think all of y'all would agree with that to this point. But that first game, the first edition, kind of like Cal and Must to a certain extent, is going to be one of the best college basketball games, I think, in terms of hype around it this upcoming season.
It will be. Now, I don't think it's going to be quite like people believe it's going to be. I don't think, for example, Cal's going to come in and they're just going to cascade booze down on him. I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I think there will be a very nice video tribute to the years there, and I think it'll be. Here's the thing you have to remember: they were ready for him to go. It's not going to be like when Mike Anderson went back to Missouri, and Missouri revealed themselves that night and the way they treated him. But it's not going to be like that. But it'll be a spectacle. I mean, I'm certain of that. It'll be a spectacle.
You mentioned the coaching staff, the reports. CBS, I think Matt Norlander had this report, Tommy, about Orlando, Antigua, Chin Coleman, Chuck Barton, Bruiser Flynn, and then also Cal's son Brad that are expected to be added to this staff. Steam Docking brings up on our YouTube channel that he thinks he's maybe trying to finalize his staff first before the recruits. I think he has a pretty good idea, and I think he had a good idea.
I think he already knows.
The last couple of days. I just don't think it's public yet.
You're right, and I can tell you when coaching changes happen, the people who are on the staff, and I'm not just talking about this situation, I'm talking about all situations, there are always 2, 3, 4 people, some of them are coaches, some of them are other types of people within the staff, that are immediately targeted as possibilities to stay. Generally, there are phone conversations that go on between the guy that kind of runs the show for the new staff, his ops guy that's coming with him. His ops guy generally gets in touch with the old ops guy. And my point is I think that everyone's got a pretty good idea about where they stand this morning.
Yeah, and the lawyers that were involved in Cal's contract, at least from the university side, they probably needed to come up for air, catch up on everything that didn't get done while they were working on his deal. And then these other deals, which may be a little more boilerplate than Coach Cal's arrangement, those all have to be done as well because, we waiting on an announcement, but generally those announcements follow the completion, of their employment agreements, which probably are taking a few days to get done.
And they're not as big of a deal for this fan base figuring out who his assistant is as the head coaching was. This is what Jason in Northwest Arkansas chimes in this morning. It says, Coach Cal has had an amnesia effect on this fan base because everyone's forgot about the losing season in basketball this last year. I haven't heard one shred of anyone talking about really this past season once the Cal news started popping off and then he ends up being officially announced. It almost like it has been forgotten this last season, guys.
Well, it has been by a lot of people, and everybody's going to be gone, basically. I mean, you may have 2 or 3 come back. I saw where Mark's going to Texas.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it's I think that last year's over, and there's a new era. You got a new coach and new players and a whole new feel, and so everybody's ready to get there now. But it's there's a good bit of work to do between now and then.
One last basketball note before we move on to what happened in Augusta, Georgia this weekend. Two prominent Razorbacks in the last decade, Jalen Williams and Isaiah Joe, were a part of a Oklahoma City Thunder team that just clinched the #1 seed in the West this weekend. There's going to be plenty of Razorbacks that are going to be a part of playoff teams, including Bobby Portis, Patrick Beverly, and others. But I just wanted to congratulate those two. Guys, Oklahoma City, not too far from a lot of our listening area, whether you're in the River Valley or in Fayetteville or Northwest Arkansas. And I am a bad Oklahoma City fan. I do not follow them as much as I do 10 years ago, but I was pumped to see that those two guys were just as big of a part of their run this year as anyone has been in the NBA this season.
You know, they built from the ground up. I mean, they went through a youth movement a few years back and lost a lot of games. And you know, they've really built themselves up organizationally, not through, you know, free agent routes necessarily or things that sometimes teams do to get better in a hurry. They kind of did it the hard way, just to be honest. But I'm looking forward to watching them play. As I've told you guys, I'm probably more of an NBA fan than either one of you guys. But I'm excited. The Knicks 150 game.
I was going to mention them too.
The Celtics are fading a little bit. I think I'm geared up for the playoffs, man.
I watched a little bit. I don't remember who they were playing Friday night, but got to catch about half of the fourth quarter, you know, waiting on a dinner party at where I was at this weekend. And the post-game interviews, the thing that stood out to me is when the sideline reporter was interviewing the players, there was Joe and there was Jalen. And it was great to see familiar faces that they wanted to talk to, and those were the players you needed to talk to because they were clearly, you know, key figures in the game. So that was really cool.
They look like they're having fun. It looks like they're in their old Northside Grizzly days or in their Arkansas days. And I know they weren't on the same team as an Arkansas Razorback team member, but they just look like they're just playing basketball with the fellas, just like they would be 10 years ago. And that's
well, they're still having fun playing. I mean, they're still kids. They're younger than you, Ty.
That's a good point. That's fair. And that's what's so crazy about, like, thinking about them or thinking about Scotty Scheffler, who at 27 years old has already won 2 Masters, to think about. I mean, you talk about Highland Park being an athlete factory when you think, and I know you don't probably like this guy, Chuck, but Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers or Matthew Stafford for the Los Angeles Rams and the Detroit Lions all these years. And then the best golfer in the world right now, another HB kid. I know he's got New Jersey roots, but he was just so steady after that first round. I don't know, and we'll get into this a little later. I don't know if he can bring golf with him. I don't know if he can lead golf. I don't know if he can be the face of it. But I was watching him on the plane on Sunday, and I couldn't stay away from it. That was an impressive performance from a guy that's, again, 2 years younger than I am.
Well, it was good. I mean, he's a great player. There's a lot of those kids that are great players, but I can't distinguish one from the other. They all look the same to me. They've all got a beard. They all walk the same. They all hit it about 330, 340 yards. I mean, they're all the same guy to me. I mean, that's as honest as I can be. And here's the thing. I've seen great golf shots lots of times in my life. I've watched professional golf on television lots of my life. I've seen great shots, just like all of us have, shots that just make you get up out of your seat. So the idea that, you know, Scotty Scheffler's game is going to bring the game of golf along with him, not a chance. He's got to have more personality. Now, I like Scotty Scheffler. I have great appreciation for his game. Great player. Bores me to tears.
Yeah,
just bores me to tears.
Yeah, you just took my entire comment because that's exactly
I'm
what
sorry.
No, that's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
No, but that's exactly. He's not a big enough personality. He is boring. He's a boring I mean, he's not flamboyant because of all the things that make him great. The steadiness you spoke to, which you're accurate, Ty. That doesn't, you know, what do we remember about Tiger? We remember the fist pumps and the high fives with Stevie and all the things, the theatrics. There was personality, there was flair, there was pizzazz. They showed a ton of those, you know, in paying tribute to the great career pardon me.
Vern Lundquist.
Vern Lundquist. I got choked up a minute. And all those highlights with Vern. You don't see that with Scotty. He'll make a great shot, and it's just, very even
Tip
kill.
of the cap.
Listen, even kill's part of the makeup of a great golfer. But all those highlights, and, we saw several of them because of Vern this weekend. It was Tiger doing something that really brought the crowd to their feet because of his excitement.
Scotty Scheffler didn't do anything, and I say this respectfully because, man, he was great. But he didn't do anything this weekend that made you say, have you ever in your life? Because everything that he did, we have seen in our lives. We've seen it over and over and over again. What the guys that have a little flair, and look, I'm not just talking about Tiger. I'm going back all the way to, I'll go old school with you, and guys like Seve Ballesteros. You got to have guys out there, Lee Trevino, the guys that made the game. They didn't make the game because they were hitting great shot after great shot. They made the game because they brought people into the game. And they had great, larger-than-life personalities.
Arnold Palmer was the greatest on that list.
Maybe so. And you just don't, again, I can't tell one from the other. They all look the same to me. They're all muscled up. They hit it a mile, and they got beards. Pick your golfer.
Yeah. Short of the beard, they're just like you, Chuck.
That's exactly right.
My
beard's grayer.
Except you hit yours about 320 instead of 330.
Yeah, not quite. So
Quinn in Clarksville saying Bryson thought it was a live tournament and it was just a 36-hole tournament. Real players overcome challenges. And he also thinks his hot take this morning here on a Hot Take Monday is that Scotty will surpass Tiger at Masters wins in 15 years.
He might. He's won 2 of his first 5. Nick Faldo had the best quote about the live golfers. He said they've been playing resort golf in shorts for the last 6 months because they're not going to come over here and in an intense moment. You're not going to see those guys win these tournaments like they have in the past. I don't know if he's right or not. I just thought it was a good line.
Well, I thought Jim Nantz kind of turned the knife a little bit yesterday late. It was just a side note, but well, the top 5 on the board right now are all PGA Tour players, and he just left it at that. I thought, ooh, there was that stings a little bit.
Yeah, it was a factually correct statement.
Yes. That's all you needed to say. So, well, it's moving season, Chuck, and you got to have experts on your side to help get you to that finish line at the closing table.
Well, one of the things that I think we all do right now is when we read the news, we're checking on the economy and prices and inflation and the real estate game's affected by all that, just like everything else is. And I think now more than ever, you need somebody on your side who understands the game, somebody who can get you from contract to close, whether you're a buyer or a seller, someone that listens to you, someone who understands your needs because your needs change. If you're a first-time home buyer, your needs are different than if you're upsizing because your family's growing or if you've been transferred. Everybody's got a different situation. And you want someone that listens, comes up with a plan, and then has the ability to execute that plan. Now, that was my experience at Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company, multiple times. And I think that'll be your experience, too. Real estate professionals, the best trained in the business, and they are the ones that get you from contract to close. Now, they're in Northwest Arkansas, Washington and Benton counties. They're in Fort Smith. They're in Branson. They've got a wide selection of homes, and you can see them all at WeicherGriffin.com.
I would argue that the bigger story that was in Augusta this weekend was either Tiger Woods tying a record and which he's done numerous times. And I was listening to you guys on Friday. I thought like you, Chuck, there's no way he makes the cut, and he somehow did. Now he had a disastrous rounds 3 and 4, ended up shooting plus 16 last of the round, but made another cut. And then also the tribute not only from him, but from Jim Nantz and CBS on Vern Lundquist. So first and foremost, here's what Tiger had to say about his relationship with Vern Lundquist over the years.
He describes it with emotionality, and he just draws the audience in. And it's amazing. What is this, I think his 40th year, maybe, I think it is now, to be able to call the Masters. I mean, that's what I grew up watching. I grew up listening to Vern, and he made a nice call there at 16. And it's one that I've been lucky enough that, I will have that memory with Vern for the rest of my life.
Hey, Nantz is great. Vern's great. They both started in the mid '80s, and it's amazing the career that Jim Nantz had. But man, if you remember Pat Summerall and Ken Venturi on the 18th Tower, that was pretty special. Just the voice of Summer, and that's really what Nantz has tried to pattern his way of doing things. I mean, this is his number one thing. Of all the Super Bowls, the NFL, the Final Fours, Chuck, there's no question the Masters is the assignment he covets the most.
Well, I'm a Vern Lundquist fan because he came from the bushes. Nantz is a rich kid. And I'm not knocking him, but he's a rich kid. Lundquist came from the bushes, man, and he started from the back of the pack. And he navigated his way through all that. And, you know, he didn't become a star until later in his life. I mean, he was there, but he wasn't a star. And, you know, he was big in Dallas for a long time. That's kind of where he, you know, cut his teeth, so to speak, involved with the Cowboys. And I've always been a fan of his just because of how he did it.
I think that the handshake with him and Tiger was one of the coolest parts of the weekend, just the exchange there. And you heard the quote there from Tiger Woods, but just the exchange itself that was caught on camera and showcased several times because they're intertwined, their careers together. As you heard Tiger just say, the rest of his life, that shot is going to be associated with Vern Lundquist. And just to move forward on that, I thought was pretty cool. And you mentioned Jim Nantz also had some really kind things to say about Vern, too.
Vern wrote a book back in 2018 called Play by Play. And the last line in the book that he wrote, Vern, I want to apply it to you. He said, thanks, to borrow a phrase, thanks for the memories. Your voice has been a beautiful instrument. Thank you for a wonderful soundtrack for all of our lives. Thank you so much, Jim.
Sounds like he's kind of tearing up a little bit. You can tell how emotional he was. We had him on the show a couple years ago, and
whoever was running the board though had the music way too hot. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, it wasn't mixed very well.
No, it was not.
Yeah. That was a visual cut. That was not an audio cut.
Well, even I was thinking the same thing as watching it yesterday. Drowned him out.
We had Vern on a few years ago with his book that came out, Play by Play, as you heard Jim Nantz talking about. And I thought he was awesome when he came on for 10 or 15 minutes with us.
There's the reason he's one of the best ever.
Voice of the common man.
Yeah. Hey, brought to you by the Fence Man, the company we love and trust when it comes to building a fence around anything, your home, your business, your property that you need to have a better look, more curb appeal. The Fence Man can provide that. Controlled access has really been the fastest growing part of their business, whether it's walk-through gates with keypads and control cards or cards you scan. They can help you with that. You need a powered automatic gate. They do those things as well. 782-3936. Anything involving fencing or gates, the Fence Man does it. 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Hour number 2 is coming up. We'll talk some Arkansas football and a little baseball as they drop their first SEC series of the season.
It's a good day to be in Arkansas. You know why? The Lotto jackpot is now more than 1.5.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
This video
Deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
So that was a lot of highlights and quotes in the top of our open. You heard baseball highlight, spring football highlight from Chuck, and also Scotty Scheffler, who won the Masters over the weekend. We'll talk more golf coming up in about 15 minutes or so. We will talk about this baseball series that didn't go according to plan this weekend, but we had a lot of time in the last couple weeks to talk Arkansas football. And really, Arkansas basketball was the mainstay here on the program, and not just this program, but several programs across our airwaves last week. So we'll come back, and we'll talk some football here as we get going in hour number 2 on a Hot Take Monday.
When we do talk basketball, all of our coverage of the championship under construction, Coach Cal, all of that is brought to you by the Lindbergh Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to lindberghteam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Go to maverickmalemedical.com. It is a Hot Take Monday, and it's brought to you by Wheels RV. Chuck and I had a great time there on Friday. Chris and Lee J got such a great crew, and it's a great place to visit. If you're looking to get into the outdoors, to camp, and do it different this year, maybe you got kids in travel ball. Man, a great way to do it is take that camper, take that RV, and do it in style. Always got a place to rest up. I know a lot of families that have went that direction. Makes things a lot easier and honestly more affordable when you think about all the money you spend on hotels. Wheels RV can get you in the right fit for you and your family. See them today for a Grand Design, Forest River, or the Brinkley Model Z. They've got them all at Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72. Off of I-49 in Springdale.
We also want to mention the Little Rock game has been moved up to Thursday. We'll discuss that more as the hour continues on. Chuck, I watched about 15 minutes of highlights, and I listened to some of your calls during this game. Got a chance to see a bunch of quarterbacks, several players that were either coming off of injury or that you just maybe for the first time saw or listened to all season. Maybe what stood out to you on Saturday starting at 12 o'clock?
Well, I'm going to backtrack a little bit from that, and I'm going to go back to late Thursday, Friday. I had a chance to go over Friday, and after Tommy and I got done, I drove down and watched the latter part of practice and then recorded some stuff with Coach Pittman. And I can tell you there's a different feel around the place. I'm certain of that. I can tell you that, the effects of Coach Petrino on the offense are evident. I think the fact that they've upgraded at several positions is evident. I think they're confident. There's a different mentality, and it's because they've brought some players in that they feel like, can help them overcome some things they couldn't overcome.
I think we lost.
I think that's the big thing on offense that makes them feel like they've got a chance to put points on the board. Now, this is going to be an interesting week. The portal opens today. Augusta's already entered the portal, and there's going to be others. I mean, let's not be naive. There's going to be others. And I think Arkansas is going to be active too. They've still got, I think, some spots along the line of scrimmage where they would like to get some backups. But now the one thing that I will say about this team right now, you know, when you look at all the starters, with a couple of exceptions, and I'm not going to name names, but generally speaking, when you look at the starters, that's a team that can compete. Now, if they start getting guys hurt, you know, that's a different deal. But you can say that about everybody. But I like their personnel. And I'm just going to say this, and I felt this as I watched practice on Friday.
I think we're
losing Chuck. He mentioned the additions, and something Sam Pittman talked about the portal. I know the question that, Tommy, you asked to Chuck on Friday was discussing about the offensive line. You added Blackstock, you added Carmona Jr., added Addison Nichols. Here's what Sam Pittman had to say about a hopefully revamped position group with his guys.
Well, they protected well. We ran the ball well. We should. Let's put it like that. But, you know, you compete against your opponent or yourself, you know, and I think that group is a group that competes against themselves. They want to be good as a collective group. I think Eric's done a great job with those guys, but you have to give them credit because, you know, getting Junior Carmona in here and Blackstock and Nichols, they have a different way about them. Braun now has moved up as a leader more, and he feels like he has the opportunity. So obviously moving Kudus inside was a good decision as well. So I like the cohesiveness of the group. I think they played well.
Chuck, you said on Friday Carmona and Blackstock are being names to tackle that you feel pretty certain of. What were your thoughts or impressions of that offensive line across the board?
I thought it was a lot better. I think I lost you there a minute ago. Sorry. I thought they got a push. And, you know, the names that he mentioned right there is what we were talking about a minute ago, the two tackles in the center and the quarterback. Those are the guys that they feel like make them better offensively and make the other guys around him better. You know, we talked about Braun right there. I'm not going to, you know, I don't know. Well, you know, we're going to have to see when we'll get a much better idea when we go to Stillwater. But I know the guys that they were pushing around out there at times aren't chopped liver. You know, they were, I thought they did a good job. And again, I'll go back to what I said a minute ago. I don't worry about this offense scoring points. I really don't.
Maybe one of the more important things is what you always come back to, Tommy. And if I missed an injury, help me out, because it sounded like from Sam that there wasn't one to mention. They escaped pretty injury-free this spring, didn't they? I didn't hear about anything.
They did.
Okay.
That's why, you know, once they got to halftime, they shut that thing down and they got the heck out of Dodge, man, because they'd gotten through it without any problems, and the last thing in the world you wanted to do is have something happen and end the whole thing on a damper.
Yeah. Now, just to balance the conversation, since it was 1s and 2s against the world, more or less.
You're right.
I mean, we do have to take a measure of pause here and a little dose of salt with what we saw on Saturday. Is that fair?
Well, do we need to go overboard and say, hey, this team is going to contend for the championship? No. But I don't think we need to look for the dark cloud either. I mean, I don't think that needs to be our objective. Spring games are shows. I mean, they are. The real work's done when you have good on good, and the practice is closed, and everybody's out there fighting their brains out. That's where the real work gets done. What happened Saturday was for show. And look, you know, here's the thing. If you have a 2-hour scrimmage with good on good and it's 10-7 when it's over, everybody goes home thinking, God, we're going to suck. But you go out there, you put 30, 40 points on the board, and people walk away thinking, you know, we got a shot. Yeah. So you're right. I wouldn't put a whole lot into it, but I wouldn't discount it either.
Yeah. Hey, just a few weekends of racing are left at Oaklawn. Live racing through Sunday, May the 5th. You can bet at bet.oaklawn.com, or you can download the Oaklawn Anywhere app to your iPhone, your iPad, or your computer and enjoy that. Find it in the Apple App Store. It is a great thing to have along the way. No matter where you're at, you can watch live racing. You can wager on Oaklawn's racing and other tracks around the country. If you're downloading it for the first time, signing up for the first time, use the promo code RUSH24 for a $150 bonus when you sign up, and then you can watch and wager and even earn points for cash back for every dollar wagered. It's the Oakline Anywhere app, promo code RUSH24 for your sign-up bonus, and enjoy live racing through Sunday, May the 5th at Oakline.
All right, when we return, we'll get into our Morning Rush daily question. Can Scotty Scheffler lead golf moving forward? That's next.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG, bring your own guts.
Tommy Kraft here for the Fitzman. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fitzman can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fitzman can custom install any type of fencing, gates, and controlled access for your business. Call the Fitzman and ask about 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. 479-782-3936. That's 479-782-3936. The Fitzman. He ain't afraid of no work.
This is the Morning Rush.
Give me the hogs, Chuck. Give me the hogs.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
This is Chuck Fawcett with Chuck Foster Realty. When I have an HVAC problem or a plumbing problem, I call 782-8940. That's 782-8940. Blaylock Heating and Air.
So to have a red truck rolling your way today, give us a call. That's Blaylock Heating and Air Conditioning for all of your heating, cooling, plumbing, and drain cleaning needs and great York Home products. It's just one number you need to know. That's 782-8940.
Tired of constant computer issues at work? And who knows what the real problem is? Is it the router? No, it's the hardware. Wait, they said it was the software. Call Hashtag Managed IT Services. Their multifaceted approach to IT support guarantees that everything is working at optimum performance. And Hashtag prevents the small problems from becoming big issues. Hashtag Managed IT Services in Van Buren. 479-802-4978. That's 479-802-4978. Hashtag Technology without the headache.
Are you ready to work for one of the area's premier companies? If so, Forsgren wants to offer you a rewarding new career. Forsgren has been building the foundation of the River Valley for over 80 years. Forsgren is recruiting for experienced concrete finishers, equipment operators, truck drivers, and laborers. Forsgren is a destination point for men and women with a drive toward excellence. Join the Forsgren legacy. Apply now on any device, anywhere at goforsgren.com. That's goforsgren.com. Forsgren Incorporated is an equal opportunity employer.
Have your travel plans changed? Looking for a place that's close to home and keep your family safe? Gaston's White River Resort is located on the beautiful White River. They offer private accommodations in their lodges and cabins. Most cabins have a fully equipped kitchen or let their restaurant staff deliver to your cabin. Call 870-431-5202 and change your plans to Gaston's White River Resort. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South C Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Spring is just around the corner, and Jelco Outdoors is ready with all of your spring fishing gear. Crappie, bass, catfish, Jelco has a great selection of rods, reels, and baits to help you fill that stringer. Spring turkey supplies are rolling in daily, and the firearms department is stocked up with ammo for outdoor shooting. Spring is almost here, so get outdoors and enjoy the spring season. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith, for all your outdoor gear. Think spring, think Jelco Outdoors.
your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. It's time for the Red River Dodge Morning Rush Daily Question. Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess. I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
Can Scotty Scheffler lead the game of golf moving forward? I think the answer is no. And as good as he is at this early stage of his career, we've gotten a few texts and comments on our live stream that he has a chance to be better than Tiger Woods, not just in Augusta, but other places. Got a long way to go between now and then. But can he lead golf? I don't think so. Now, it was fun to watch what he did on Sunday.
His stardom confirmed. One of the greatest feelings in golf. Walking up that hill, being greeted, knowing you're going to be wearing a green jacket.
I have an odd analogy that I think makes sense as I was kicking it around last night. I think he's the Mike Trout of golf. You never hear about Mike Trout off field. Great player, apparently great organizational guy. I know this is an individual sport, but this is a guy with New Jersey roots, went to Highland Park, rich kid, as we were talking about Jim Nance earlier, and he's in that same mold. And for Scheffler, who, again, he just doesn't do anything. Like, he finally showed some emotion on 18, but he's apparently a good husband. He's apparently going to be a good father. He's apparently a good son. He's got all these things that are going for him. And I think we're drawn to things in our favorite athletes that are visceral, that are odd, that are off, that are really like not good in certain ways. And he doesn't seem to have any of those. He doesn't seem to have
not
any
a bad boy.
No,
not
he's
a
not.
bad boy.
He's
other than golf, he's not interesting.
No.
He's perfect.
Yeah, but that's what I don't know if that's good for golf. To me, it's not. Like DeChambeau, for example, he does things differently, and I hate that guy. But I think Bryson DeChambeau is better for golf than Scotty Scheffler, and I think that other guys that I don't like Patrick Reed, for example, are better for golf than Scotty Scheffler because you're saying negative things about him. You're bringing him up more. It's kind of like when we were talking about this baseball team a week or so ago. They just keep on winning. This guy keeps on winning. He's got 10 wins in, I think, 6 of 9 majors, or 10 wins and finished in the top 10s in the last 5 appearances. I mean, he's been unbelievable. Since 2022, he's been in the final 2 groups, entering Saturday 17 times. It's expected. I know Jack holds the highest record for majors and then has like a bunch of second-place finishes too. But people are more drawn to Arnold Palmer because of the entertainment value.
The personality.
There's no one discounting that Jack was the better golfer. That's displayed over and over again by the records. But they're not the same person. And I don't know who Scheffler's counterpart is in this era, but there are more people excited about Tiger Woods, who finished plus 16 and got a standing ovation in his final hole, than they were for Scotty Scheffler.
Counterpart was his playing mate yesterday, Colin Morikawa. So, I mean, that's who it is, because you look at their playing records and their finishes, and it's almost the same. But Arnold Palmer hadn't been wasn't the greatest player on the course past the early mid-'60s. It became Jack, but people loved Arnold because of the personality, the likability. I'm not saying that Scheffler's not a likable guy, Chuck, but he doesn't have, he doesn't cross the lines. He doesn't jump the chart to a different chart like Taylor Swift does. He just doesn't have that pizzazz.
Well, I don't think he's relatable. And that's the problem that a lot of them have right now, is they, at least they're not relatable to my generation. Let me rephrase that. I'm not a bro. I'm not one of the bro types. And so that part doesn't really appeal to me. To me, when I look at Scheffler and Rahm and a lot of these guys, to me, they're all just interchangeable parts. I mean, one looks like the other. They all hit it about the same. Scheffler's the best right now. There's no question about that. And, he may be the best in a while, and he may be the best for a while. But I don't know that he's got the type personality that people people relate to. These guys are making so much money right now. And, one of the things we detest about professional athletes, I don't think I'm wrong on this, is when some of them get big contracts, it seems as though they stop competing. They don't compete as fiercely. Tiger, Nicklaus, pick your great in whatever sport. They may get a big contract, but they never stop competing. Now, Scheffler's not going to stop competing, and some others aren't either. But I see a lot of guys out there, and most of them are live guys. They're just so stinking rich now that the idea of winning and losing doesn't come from, they're not as hungry. Let me just put it that way. They're not as hungry, and therefore they're not relatable. They're not relatable at all. And I just think that, as good as he is, if he's the face of golf's in trouble.
Yeah. This is a fair text from Justin in Fayetteville, and I completely get this perspective. He says, Ty, how can you not like someone? I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm just saying he's not good to bring the sport of golf where it needs to be. He said, Ty, how can you not like someone who loves his family, is a God-fearing man, and is at the top of his respected sport? And that's a fair text this morning. But it's, again, and you don't even have to, I don't even know if you have to identify with something, but you got to have flaws. This guy didn't have, you've
got to be relatable. But you've got to be relatable.
Here's why I say that. Here's why I say that, because Scheffler's a likable guy. There's no dismissing what Justin says there. But part of the reason that we identify with our heroes and our celebrities, and this can be athletes or anything, is because when they screw up and they bleep up, we say, they're just like us, because we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. You're not perfect. But he doesn't have any. He doesn't have any seemingly public flaws that we can latch onto and be akin with. And I think that's an issue for him too.
I think you're buying into the age-old media narrative. If we're going to build you up, we're going to tear you down, and then we're going to celebrate you when you rise like a phoenix. That's what we do in sports. And you're talking about it right now. We build them up, then we gripe because they're not relatable. We tear them down, and then when they bounce back, we celebrate them. Because that's been the media narrative in sports as long as I've been alive. And it's not going to change. Scottie Scheffler doesn't need to screw up. Scottie Scheffler doesn't need to have an affair on his wife and, have her chase him down the driveway with a golf club. He doesn't need to have that stuff happen. He is a great player. You got to be who you are. I just think that these guys, there's so much money. They're making so much money right now that, with the exception of a few, and Scheffler's one of them, the competitive drive is not what it once was. All you have to do is watch to see it.
Yeah, well, Tiger Woods being the prime example you just alluded to, and while Scotty doesn't need that individually, golf overall does. Golf as a sport needs people talking about it, because I would guess that it's not the biggest national story on sports radio, sports TV past today. It won't make it, and then it'll just subside and wither off to the wind. And that's not good for the sport. It's not good for the watchability, and it's not good for growing the game, which I think we all want it to happen, but it's not going to if this continues in this direction.
Well, there's a rift in the game right now. The Saudi money has, I think, perhaps irreparably harmed our American version of golf, what we think of professional golf being. They've ruined it, and we let them. And in some cases, we even celebrated them because they were getting all that money. And anytime you get hundreds of millions of dollars, it's got to be good. But they've taken the game away from the average person. Tiger, for better or worse, made the common, average, everyday guy want to go play golf. There's not anybody out there right now that when the Masters was over yesterday said, man, I got to get out to the range. Maybe the guys that play every day, maybe the guys that play every day thought, man, if I want to play like that, I got to go hit more balls. But the guy that maybe plays 4 or 5 times a year and then gets hooked and ends up playing once or twice a week, Those guys aren't out there right now. They're not rushing to the golf course when the Masters is over the way they once did. They can't relate to these guys because they've lived a life. You talk about a kid that grew up in Highland Park. How many kids listening to this program right now have lived the life that Scotty Scheffler has lived from the minute he came out of the womb? Very, very few, I promise you. And there's not a guy out there that the average Joe can relate to anymore.
All right, that's your Morning Rush Daily Question. It is brought to you by Red River Dodge in Heber Springs. They are Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Professional people, professional service. Schedule your service appointment today at gopascal.com.
So we haven't talked much Arkansas baseball yet through the first hour and a half in the program. They dropped their first conference series of the weekend to Alabama on the road. Guys, I never thought that in addition to Alabama football being good, they'd have a really good basketball team and also a competent baseball team too. But I would expect that Arkansas is going to drop from the #1 ranking today, and that is going to be probably given to Texas A&M, who swept over the weekend, also won their midweek series as well. Some of you have already texted in and said that, hey, this is a good thing. We don't want the #1 ranking, but the hitting was an issue again this weekend, especially with guys on base and in scoring position. They just didn't get enough on that side of the on that side this weekend.
And I'll be interested. I don't know if they'll drop from #1 or not. If they do, it's not the end of the world. We've really got to question, is Kentucky #1 in this league right now? I know what the records are. But you know, that's going to be an interesting series coming up. Is the hitting a concern, Chuck? I'd say it is, but they get enough pitching to carry them a long ways.
Well, as we've discussed, even for great teams, there's an ebb and a flow, and there are going to be times when you don't hit the ball well. And this was one of those weekends. Now, give that kid credit yesterday. Now, Arkansas helped him some, but give him credit. He pitched a heck of a game. And it was a bad weekend from an offensive standpoint. You're going to have that sometimes. You just got to come back and keep playing. I mean, that's nothing changed over the weekend. It's still a good enough team to get to Omaha. You get to Omaha, you got a chance to win the whole thing. Whether Kentucky's a game better in the standings doesn't change that at all. But you got to come out and you got to play better tomorrow night. And what he's really got to do right now is try to find a guy or two that's got a hot bat. You know, you got to get some guys going at the plate. Sometimes, you know, a guy gets going and, you know, everybody else follows. But, you know, that didn't really happen this weekend.
Yeah, no one had a good game 3 hitting the baseball. Peyton Holt had himself a good game, too. In fact, kept the Hogs in it in that 9th inning.
Pitches hit high in the air by Holt to deep left. Back goes Petrance. That ball's out of here. Peyton Holt has tied the game with a 2-out home run in the 9th inning.
So he gets his first start in left field and goes 3 for 4 in game number 2. Arkansas still lost that game, but when asked about Peyton Holden after the game, his performance and kind of what Dave's thinking there, here's what he said about the Greenwood native.
I thought he played great the 2 games he played in. I mean, his first at bat, he hit a line drive to right center when left the bat. We thought it was going to drop. There were 2 outs and a runner on second, and you know, McCants ran in and made a nice catch. And, you know, he just missed another ball that he flew out to left pretty deep or left center. I liked his approach at the plate. It was really good to see as we're trying to figure out what to do over there. And right now, I'd say it's his spot. You know, we had him pretty much working in the outfield exclusively the last few days and thought he played well yesterday and made a couple nice plays today. And obviously, he swung the bat. He was real competitive at the plate, and that's all you want to see.
You know, we talked, and I know a lot of people have wondered when's Peyton Holt going to play. You know, and I can remember saying that there are going to be points where these guys slump. And right now, you got some guys in the outfield that aren't hitting the ball very well. And that's when you get plugged in. And that's when you got to respond. Now, yesterday wasn't a very good day. I suspect, though, that he'll be in the lineup for a little bit. And if he goes into a slump, somebody will replace him. That's just kind of how it works.
I thought the key statement from Dave there is right now it's his spot. And now, like you said, no, it wasn't just Peyton. No one hit the ball at all yesterday. I mean, it's 5-0. So no one, it's not just on Peyton Holt. It's
nothing.
Nothing. Sorry. That's the non.
I got to correct you there, man. I'm sorry. I just got to do it.
You need to. That's the non-baseball.
Did you golf in 97?
I golfed a 99. I hit a 99 this week, and I finally broke the threshold.
I'm
of
sorry.
100.
Go ahead with your question.
But
I didn't mean to derail you there.
I thought that was an important kind of tidbit within what Dave had to say there was this is his spot for now. Now, that could change, like you said, but that's pretty straightforward on that.
The other thing he said following the game was, hey, we'll plug some different guys into the lineup against Texas Tech, and they're fighting for spots. These midweek games, you know, they'll add up on the win-loss total, and they'll affect your RPI, Chuck. But what's the most important thing there is there's guys trying to show Coach Van Horn that, hey, I need to be in higher consideration for the weekend lineup, and here's their chance.
Well, that's true. They've got to find a hot bat. And I thought their pitching over the weekend statistically wasn't bad. But I don't think anybody had their best stuff. I thought their starters had to battle, and the bullpen was just okay. Now, that doesn't mean they're a bad team. It doesn't mean they're in a tailspin. It means you're going to have weekends like that. And sometimes you're able to battle through and win that series, and sometimes you're not. And they weren't able to do it this time around.
I think the other important thing to point out, Alabama was riding a 5-game losing streak coming in to game 2. I guess there's 4 games, and then the Hogs won Friday. We see it time and time again, guys, in this league. When you get desperate and you're a good baseball team, but things have just not went your way for a week or two, man, you fight like hell to get out of that hole. And I think that's where you caught Alabama at a time that they had to come out swinging, Chuck, and they had a good weekend as a result of that.
They competed. Yeah. They competed. And certainly their backs were to the wall in a sense.
Yeah.
And they were
4-8. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were 4-8, and they'd been beaten pretty badly up at Kentucky. For some reason, I don't know what it is, man. There's something about that ballpark. I think they've lost 2 series in a row down there now, and I can remember when I was doing the games, we couldn't win down there to save our lives. So I don't know what it is about that little bandbox they've got down there, but over the years it's been hard to win.
You mentioned the pitching. Even in a loss, you like what you saw from Mason Molina, who had his highest pitch count or highest inning total of the year.
The set, a check of first, now the pitch. Check swing, appeal. He went strike 3. And a strikeout for Mason Molina, stranding runners at first and third.
One thing you got to think about, and I'm not trying to throw cold water on strikeouts and all that stuff. Molina hit 100 pitches in the 6th inning. 100 pitches in the 6th inning. That's too soon to be hitting 100 pitches. And striking guys out's great and all that, but an out's an out. And that's why I say the pitching statistically was fine, but I don't know that anybody really had their best stuff. I don't know. Pause for a minute, talk about Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Let me do that. Hey, I know that we're about to get into full-blown spring. You know, there's going to be points where the AC, and it's not too far away, where, man, you got to have that AC working. Don't pay for an AC tune-up, because if you're a customer at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric, spring AC tune-ups are included with your membership plan. Now, you hear us talking about this. Memberships start at only $8.99 a month. They include discounts on repairs. You get priority when it comes to scheduling. And your spring AC tune-up is absolutely free, because here's what they do at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. They take care of problems before they occur. They're on the lookout for things before they become problems, because the last thing in the world you want is on a day when you need it for it not to be there. And that's what the spring AC tune-up prevents. So what are you waiting for? Start your membership today. Log on to gopascal.com.
Ryan in Hot Springs has been patiently waiting here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. What's up, Ryan?
Well, first I wanted to say this because I heard Chuck say he wasn't a bro guy. The first thing I thought of, well, he's not a Gold Star guy either. He kills me with him and Bubba and when I do the baseball thing. Absolutely love it. It's absolute gold there, Chuck. I just want you to know that.
Well, that's Phil. That's Phil doing the baseball games. You got to give Phil credit for that.
No, I'm saying when you filled in and he's wanting a Gold Star.
Okay. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. I had a lot of fun that day.
Yeah, but anyway, I wanted to give you your flowers on that one. But I was calling to talk about the spring game. You know, we're not talking about getting too excited, but the stuff that I was looking for is, where was the quarterback putting the throws to his receivers? Was he making good or bad decisions? That kind of stuff. And the stuff that I walked away impressed with. While understanding it was our second team, and I get all that, but it's also hard not to get excited. He was fixing to break around the thing, and he's about to have a big gainer, and it would have been a big gainer when they touched him for the air quote down or sack. But I look for him to rush for some yards this year. That's that was my takeaway. I hope y'all have a great day, and go Hogs.
It's interesting you say that. When I was over there Friday, I had just a brief conversation with Coach Petrino, and he was talking about Green. And I think the thing that they're most excited about is when they turn him loose and he runs. But now I'm going to tell you, that pass he threw to Armstrong on that corner route, that's a throw right there now. Not everybody in college football can make that throw.
Yeah.
And Armstrong's better, and I'll tell you, Tyrone Broden's better too.
Let's go back to that call.
To the right hip of his quarterback. Green's going to throw deep left side. Got a man in the end zone. Pass is caught. Touchdown, Arkansas. Armstrong. Perfect throw. 20 yards and a score.
So if you missed the game and you want to go back and watch just the highlights, there's a highlight video on YouTube out. It's about 13 or 14 minutes. It's got most of the marquee plays. But to go back to that touchdown, I mean, he put it only where Armstrong could get it, Chuck. And I felt like Tyrone Broden had that nice touchdown too. That's a legitimate, you would hope, 1-2 punch SEC wide receiver. I mean, Broden only had 100 yards last year. Armstrong cleared 700, but they got a year of SEC ball under their belt. I think both of them will be much better this year.
They will be, but I'll tell you, the guy that I walked away really thinking about was Jaquinda Jackson, the running back from Utah. He's a player. That's a football player. Now, he's not a breakaway guy, If somebody's got an angle on him at the 20, they're probably going to get him down before he gets to the end zone. But I'm going to tell you, between the tackles, between the hashes, that's a football player right there.
And what I noticed about him is his ability to break tackles. And we got to come back to what you said earlier. It's the second team. Yeah. There's going to be SEC opponents.
I'm not even sure as much of the second team.
And that has been an issue the last 2 years. Not 3 years ago when you led the Power 5 in rushing. The last 2 years, your running backs haven't had the best ability to break tackles. And he was banged up last year, Chuck. He kind of alluded to he was not fully healthy. And I know during SEC ball, sometimes you get banged up a little bit too. But I'm hoping he's healthy, not just for the opener, but for this upcoming season, because I liked what I saw on Saturday. I thought, again, not the fastest guy, but just breaking tackles left and right, it seemed like.
He's a great player. He's a good athlete. He began his career at Texas as a quarterback. And when he went to Utah, when he transferred to Utah, he actually played backup quarterback and running back before, moving exclusively to running back. So this is an athlete. This is a ball player.
All right, more of your calls and texts coming up. The McLarty Daniel hotline is open, 877-377-6963. Call or text us at that number. Hey, Gaston's White River Resort, the place to kick back and unwind. Love relaxing at Gaston's. Talk about these sports weekends, and would have been a great weekend to watch the Masters, to watch the red-white game, to watch some Arkansas baseball. There's going to be more weekends like that coming up. Make your look at that calendar. Look at that weekend for an anniversary or a birthday getaway, or maybe you're looking for something at work to take people you work with or clients to some kind of getaway or retreat. Gaston's is perfect for that. In fact, they host a lot of company sales meetings and training getaways because they have a big conference center that can handle your crowd as well, plus a great restaurant to do all the cooking for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Or, hey, if it's just a small gathering, use your private cabin with its full kitchen to get away and unwind. And, of course, fishing's always the star of the show. Don't leave there without doing a guided fishing trip at Gaston's White River Resort. 870-431-5202. Gaston's, a first-class time every time.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG. Bring your own guts.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. Our #1 volume lure out of our 20 fishing brands is the Bobby Garland Baby Shad. We make them by the millions in our facility in Fort Smith, and the Baby Shad is without a doubt the #1 soft plastic crappie lure in the U.S. Fish it on a light jig head or underneath a float, and you'll find it's as productive as live bait. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. The Bobby Garland Baby Shad.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Hey, this is former Razorback Jalen Williams, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
When you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. But you're clocking out and happy hour's already started. The choice to enjoy is easy. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Pick up Bud Light at your local convenience store today. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else. My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything, service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's. Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbor since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make Awake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make Awake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make Awake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make Awake Bait and Tackle.
Hey, this is Ty Richardson for Jake Neal and his team at Jerry Neal's Barbecue. Jake's dad, Jerry, started cooking barbecue at Jerry Neal's in 1977, and Jake took over and has been doing the same thing ever since. I got ribs the last time I was there. Woo! Man, they were good. Don't forget about the catfish either. It's cooked to order, so it's hot and fresh every single time. The best catfish in the River Valley. Jerry Neal's Barbecue, Catfish, and Catering, 1823 Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas football. It's the players running through the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Yes, sir. Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
So we've yet to mention one aspect of this weekend for the Arkansas spring game, and that's my fault. But you also had the memory of life for the late Dean Weber, which I heard Sam Pittman talk. There was over 450 former players that came and people that came for this event. So I know this was a big deal for Matt Jones, for Darren McFadden, and others. And, Chuck, I know it was an emotional time for a lot of former players.
Well, it was for everybody, myself included, that knew Dean and loved Dean. And it was a really nice service. A lot of his colleagues spoke. The people that spoke that I think those would be familiar with would be Houston Nutt spoke, and Kevin Scanlon spoke. Darren McFadden spoke, and some his colleagues at the foundation spoke, and it was very good. Marvin Caston, Sean Rochelle. My old boss, David Shoemaker, spoke, and if I'm leaving somebody out, I apologize. But it was a very nice service, and I know he'd have been very, very happy that everyone had such a good time visiting when it was over.
Yeah, and for 450 or whatever was there, I bet there was twice that many that couldn't make it for one reason or another that'll love to have been there.
Well, and a lot of them did make certain that they came back this time for Dean's service. They did, but a lot of these guys come back every year. One of the biggest thrills I have pretty much every spring is getting to visit with Ike Forte. Ike Forte was one of my childhood heroes, number 85, and he's back all the time. Lives down around Texarkana now, and I get to visit. R.C. Tillman was there over the weekend. I occasionally pulled for the Redskins because R.C. Tillman played for them. And, there were so many of those guys that were my childhood heroes. And so I love it. I love Letterman's weekend. And so for me, it was a lot of fun, and I think for everybody else, it was a lot of fun. Everybody gets to relive their glory a little bit. Those players do. And, I'll tell you a story real fast if I have time. Late Friday night, one of our former players, Tommy, you remember Derek Holloway? I don't know if you do, Ty. He was one of our good receivers back in the day. He'd come up from Houston, and he was late, and I think he'd had some issues getting there, and he pretty much missed the event, the fish fry. Got there late, and everybody's gone. He walks up. First guy he runs into is Z. All right? Now, if you're a former player and you're showing up after everybody's left, the perfect guy to run into is Z. So, oh, yeah, Derek Holloway, number 29. I remember you. Come on in. Came in, showed him around. They were packing up the food, got him a plate of food and all that stuff. And so for these guys to come back is a really big deal to them. I don't know if we appreciate what a big deal it is. And I think it's great. I think we should celebrate those guys. I've always said if you want to bring those guys back, put their picture on the wall. They'll come back, show every family member they got. They want to be remembered. They want the fans to embrace them. And I can tell you, just again, for me, just to have a ringside seat on some of these events with these guys is that's a big thrill for me.
And I know, Chuck, when you've talked about this before, when Sam Pittman talks, it's like they all go back to when they're 18 or 19 years old. It's like the coach.
Oh,
again.
they do.
They could be 60, 70 years old, and all of a sudden they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and they just are like, oh, my gosh, the coach is talking. So I just think that's a cool aspect to when guys come back. One of the other news tidbits that came out of this weekend, not just the Arkansas spring game, but the fact that the first game of the season in Little Rock against UAPB has been moved up to Thursday night. Here, when asked about the game being moved up, I agree wholeheartedly with Sam Pittman. This is a positive for this team this year.
First thing is, if you play in September, then what time do you want to play the game? So everybody at Little Rock, and probably everybody ever wants to play the game at night because it's so dang hot, right? Well, if you play at night, then we have a home game that we get home at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's always earlier in the year, and we've got a 6 or 7 game road stretch before our bye week, right? Now, this year is different because we have 6, a bye, 6, and, and then another bye. So this year's a little bit different, but to me, playing on Thursday gives you a lot of reasons to play on Thursday night. Number one, it's a night game, so the folks will be able to tailgate, and it won't be as hot. It won't be as hot on our guys, and you gain 2 days on your next opponent. And I believe that was the best decision and really the only decision we could make other than saying we're going to go over there and play at night on our first game, and that just didn't give us any type of advantage at all.
So you either get home at 3 a.m. Saturday night / Sunday morning, or you can play the game 2 games earlier and play or get ready for one of the biggest games of your season, which is on the road in Stillwater against the defending Big 12 runner-up team that virtually returned everyone on offense. This seems like a no-brainer to me. Is there any pushback that I'm missing at all on this?
No. And you just articulated the real reason why they're doing this is they're getting ready to play Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
Look, I suspect, I don't know this, but I suspect that during preseason practice, there's probably going to be work on what Oklahoma State does because let's just be honest. That's a bigger non-conference game than some. I won't even go so far as to say most, but it's a bigger non-conference game than some because you should be able to beat UAPB. I mean, come on. No disrespect to UAPB. I'm a fan of UAPB, and I hope they do well, but Arkansas should win that game.
Yeah.
And you do get 2 extra days to prepare for OSU, and that's a big game.
Yeah. I was telling Ty before the show, it's almost like, with all due respect, it's almost like you have an 11-game season because this game is so detached, so removed from the rest of your schedule by venue, by date, by playing on Thursday. It's almost, in many ways, the de facto season opener will be on the road in Stillwater.
Yeah, and hopefully one of the final 2 games that are played in War Memorial Stadium for Arkansas football. All right, that is your Hog Update. As always, brought to you by our friends at Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8
All right, speaking of Stillwater, Dirty South Hog in Memphis has a hot take on that game as welcome in. Dirty South Hog, you have about 45 seconds. What's your hot take on this Hot Take Monday? Dirty South Hog, you there? All right, I think his hot take was going to be that Arkansas is going to go into Stillwater and win that football game. But yeah, I mean that's it's pretty easy to look behind the curtain and see why they're doing that. And with Sam Pittman, I think the only people that are probably mad about that game being moved might be the ones in Little Rock. But overall, it's the clear
I think
decision.
the Little Rock people are happy about that.
Yeah, I think
they're happy about that.
And that leads into Labor Day weekend, and
it's not,
right.
And it's going to be on ESPNU now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
correct.
TV has, don't bury that in the conversation because that's a big part of it. All right, it is Hot Take Monday. It is brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. They've added Brinkley Model Zs in the last couple of years, year and a half or so. Check out the latest innovations in luxury fifth wheels at Wheels, and like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty at Wheels RV. They had a big time at the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party. Hey, the big sale continues. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale.
All right, hour number 3 coming up. Sam Pittman had some more thoughts, not just on his quarterback situation, but also the transfer portal. Isaiah Auguste has entered the transfer portal over the weekend. Who else can enter, and how is Arkansas football going to move forward with who they need to add to this roster?
Home is everything. It's your sanctuary, your command center, your music room, and your art studio.
It's where you eat family dinners and make lasting memories. When you use a Weichert agent to help you find your home, we'll help you find the space to make it yours. When you begin your search, know that a Weichert agent will be there with you every step of the way. Because at Weichert Realtors, we guide you home. To get started, call your local Weichert agent and look for our bright yellow signs all over town. At Weichert Realtors, we sell more because we do more. Each Weichert franchised office is independently owned and operated.
On Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., NAFI and local law enforcement will host DEA's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day at locations across the region. Take-Back Day offers free and anonymous disposal of unneeded medications at close to 5,000 local drop-off locations nationwide. Join us at Harrison City Hall, Boone County Sheriff Department, Mountain Home Police Department, or Tractor Supply and Mountain Home. For more information, contact Kyle Evett at 870-391-3367.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
WT Equipment is your home for New Holland ag and construction equipment, sales, parts, and service. For high horsepower row crop tractors and combines, utility tractors and hay equipment, compact track loaders, and mini excavators. WT Equipment has it all. Stop by one of their 8 locations to explore the value of New Holland tractors and see why New Holland hay equipment and twin rotor combines are second to none in harvesting ability. Need to upgrade your construction equipment fleet? Give WT Equipment a call. Come by a store or check out their website, WTEquip.com.
Ty, that's the $1 million question.
This is the Morning Rush.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
Diamond Center is proud to present our inaugural Whiskey and Watches event. Now is your chance to get your hands on that timeless timepiece you've been dreaming of. Between now and Thursday, April 25th, in our Fort Smith store, call or stop by to pre-order your watch. Then join us on Thursday, April 25th for a night of celebration featuring rare whiskeys, cigars, and luxury watches. This is your opportunity to add that watch that you've always had an eye on to your collection. For more information or to pre-order your watch today, give us a call. The Diamond Center, celebrating a legacy of love.
Dozy Place has now been serving award-winning steaks for over 20 years. Celebrate your special birthday, holiday, person, or just because at Dozy Place. Start with delicious appetizers and your choice of drinks from the largest selection of wines, beer, and liquor in the River Valley. Dozy Place is open Tuesday through Thursday 5 till 9 and Friday and Saturday 5 till 10. Reservations are recommended, so call 784-9111. 784-9111 for Dozy Place, 422 North 3rd Street, Fort Smith.
Hey, Hog fans, this is Matt.
This is Elizabeth.
And this is the reigning champion of my own conference, Robert.
You do realize that's not a thing.
Well, I did receive a plaque commemorating that accomplishment.
Yeah, and I was elected the president of Mars. Anyway, Hog fans, it's that time again.
It's baseball season. And Hog fans, the Stadium Shop has everything you need for Razorback baseball.
From t-shirts, sweatshirts, man cave stuff, and even a Razorback original, the Bases Loaded beer hats.
Plus, ladies, as well as a restocked women's section, we have the Bases Loaded beer stein boppers.
Yeah, it's kind of like those old-time space alien antennas, you know.
Yeah, well, not really.
So when you're in Fayetteville, stop by the store at 989 South Razorback Road, next door to Baum Walker Stadium, or you can shop us on them WW Interweb, Facegram, you get it, Matthew.
Dad, do you mean the website?
Yeah.
Which is shoponrazorback.com. That's shoponrazorback.com.
Or call us at 479 Stadium. That's 479-782-3486.
As always,
go Hogs!
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Sunny sky today. Our high temperatures this afternoon will be in the low to mid-70s. Later tonight, nice and clear, and overnight low in the upper 40s. Saturday, blue sky, sunshine. Our high will be into the upper 70s to lower 80s. Sunny, breezy on Sunday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Shamrock Liquor Warehouse, 5609 Midland Boulevard, your leader in fine wines, beers, and
You're
spirits.
listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith.
His stardom confirmed.
Can't tell you how much I hate shooting over par.
Green to throw, well protected, steps up, back of the end zone, pass complete. He caught it. That's a touchdown. Caught by Tyrone Broad.
We have a better football team.
Sousa waits. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Alabama shuts him out 5-0.
We just got to move on. We got to get better. I'll try to mix up the lineups a little bit this Tuesday and Wednesday and give guys an opportunity to play. And maybe something will jump out at us that somebody's going to show us they need to play or pitch.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios.
Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Kristen Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Call or text The Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
Shared plenty of highlights and quotes there from the Masters, the spring game this weekend. Arkansas baseball ultimately falling in Tuscaloosa in this series against the Alabama Crimson Tide. I want to come back to football. We kind of ended our hog update there talking about the Little Rock game that's been moved up. If you're just jumping in with us now, it's been moved to Thursday night. It's an ESPNU broadcast, and of course we'll have it right for you here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. But the portal. That's something that every coach in college football has to keep an eye on and has kept an eye on, not just the last couple of days, but really since this whole thing kind of got going. What did Sam Pittman have to say about that, particularly with his quarterback position? We'll discuss coming up.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. The best brands at the best prices and always a lifetime warranty on every new RV, so that you can camp with confidence. Stop in and see why Wheels has been voted the best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72, off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on The Morning Rush is presented by Sawyer's. Sunrooms, patio covers, pergolas, driveways, and windows, including decorative concrete. 100% financing available. No job too small or large. Everything for the outside of the house.
So I've got a longer cut for you this morning as we continue on this Hot Take Monday. And it's Sam Pittman again addressing the transfer portal. It's not just Sam that has to deal with it, but every coach in college football. And here's what he had to say about guys that potentially will enter. We know Isaiah Augusta has already entered the portal, and how Arkansas is going to deal with that.
Number one, portal, we don't want to lose any of our players. And I had a talk with our team, and I said, hey, if we just don't lose anybody that we have and don't add anybody, we're going to have us a fine football team. So the number one thing is I don't want to lose anybody we have. Inevitably, we're going to. I mean, hope not, but we could. I don't know why you'd want to leave this team. It's a good football team, but I understand the landscape of football. Once that happens, if we don't lose anybody, we have 5 scholarships available. We need to get some more help on the D-line. We need to get some more help on the offensive line. And we need to get maybe a another wide receiver. If we just had 5, instead of going to wide out, we would go to linebacker. We need an older linebacker.
So you mentioned, say, couple position guys there, and those are positions where you maybe like the first unit, but you're a little worried about the depth, as most coaches are with any unit concerning moving forward. I don't know which one is at the top of his list, but those are really kind of 4 or 5 position groups that he'd like to add at least one person. And curious to see who else sees, or curious to see who else might enter the portal from this Arkansas football team, because I was kind of taken aback when I saw the news about Isaiah Augusta, guys.
Well, I don't think they were surprised by that. I'll just put it that way. You don't want to lose anyone, but I think there's also – and we look at playing time, and that's generally what we focus on as fans. Some of these guys enter the portal for different reasons beyond that. And so I'm not surprised that Isaiah entered the transfer portal. And there stands to reason there are going to be some others. And you react accordingly, you know, as he said just a moment ago. Now, one thing that I do think is that regardless of what happens in the portal this week, they're still looking for depth on both lines of scrimmage. I mean, I don't think that changes. I don't suspect that anyone that is going to figure into their starting plans, for example, on the lines of scrimmage is going to leave. I don't think that. There might be a backup. I don't know. We'll just have to see how that all plays out. But clearly, regardless of what transpires, they want to bolster their depth. I think they feel good about their first units on both sides in terms of the line of scrimmage. And but I do think they want some depth. When he's talking about a receiver, I think he's talking about, you know, the 6th guy, the 7th guy in the rotation. I don't think he's necessarily talking about a guy that's going to come in and unseat Broden, Armstrong, and Satania. I don't think that at all. I think they might like to find a guy that gives them depth there, that can become that last guy in the rotation, so to speak. And look, you can always use another defensive back. I can assure you that.
And he mentioned the term older linebacker, which Xavier Sori is the young man from Georgia, hadn't played a lot in Athens, but was 5-star coming out of high school. And they really like Brad Spence. I mean, he said some glowing things after the game, but when you look at that position group, it's one of the most youthful on the team.
They have 13 portal guys right now. 11 of them are juniors and seniors. So when you go into the portal, generally that is what you are going to get. Now, these guys I don't suspect are going to be household names. They may come from schools that we've heard of, but I don't think these are going to be, you know, your star-type players. Now, I do think all across the country there are going to be players the caliber, say, of Augusta, some others who may enter the portal. I think the portal is going to be full of guys like that. I don't know that there's going to be someone out there at this point that you look at and say, man, that guy's a difference maker. We got to go get him. But I do think there's some guys on there that can provide you some solid depth. And, you know, we'll see what they do at running back. You know, we got to see what transpires at that position, where you are when it all settles.
Yeah, because
you know, there's more to come this week, I'm sure.
Those comments were made before Isaiah Augusta entered the transfer portal. Based on him deciding to do that, you might see a running back that they go out of the portal if there's someone that they think is worthy of being a scholarship. And you have to think about when these guys enter the portal. I know playing time is, again, like you just alluded to, we think that that's always the way, but I wonder where that would kind of go into the psyche of a guy that would probably be 3rd or 4th on the depth chart, because I liked what I saw with Braylon Russell too at that spot. And maybe him emerging as a true freshman might have had something to do with it, why Isaiah decided to leave and enter his name in the portal. And I guess technically he can come back, but we just know he's entered the portal right now.
You're right. He is in the portal, and I would not suspect he'll be back.
Well, what about the backup quarterback position? You kind of know that Taylor Green's going to be your starter, barring injury, but listen to what Sam Pittman had to say about K.J. Jackson, Malachi Singleton, and Jacoby Criswell.
With the number 2 quarterback position, it could be, in my opinion, it could be any of the 3 that are running to. Bobby played all 3 of those second team guys in the first half. But I think it's wide open in there. Obviously, Taylor Green is our quarterback. But after that, I think it's a very wide open race. And I'm not saying any of them can't go get Taylor. I'm not saying that. But I believe he'll work hard to keep his position. But between the four of them, I think we still have to wait and see on 2, 3, and 4.
I had to laugh when I heard that cut, thinking it's never too early to start talking about the backup quarterback. I mean, are you kidding me? Taylor Green's just gotten here. We hadn't even seen him play in a game, and everybody's talking about who the number 2 quarterback's going to be. I mean, give me a break. But there is a battle there, evidently. I think K.J. Jackson will probably end up being the guy.
And that's, again, the true freshman from, I know it's Alabama. I think it's Montgomery.
He's the future.
Yeah.
He's the future, guys. And he is the future.
I don't know the last time you've had a lefty QB, but I don't know. I've always liked lefty QBs. The thing with me and Sam Pittman's comments there is talking about what's going to happen in the fall. And I agree with you. It is funny that there's more attention paid to the backup maybe from his comments than the actual starter. I think they're trying to, again, figure out who's going to be it, but they're also doing it because I don't think they want any of those 3 young men to enter the transfer portal. And if you push it back, if you don't definitively say this is our starter, this is the backup, I think it's less likely that one, if not both of the guys, enter the portal in this period.
Well, I think the players know, regardless of position. They know if they've got a chance to play or not. I mean, they have an idea. They've got a feel. I don't think that I don't know that dangling that carrot means what it once did, just to be frank with you. I think a lot of these guys are probably, if they're going to leave, I think they've already decided they're going to leave. Isaiah played Saturday, didn't play badly at all, but clearly he'd already decided he was going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
So there may be some others that fall into that category too.
And you mentioned K.J. Jackson potentially becoming the backup quarterback. It was nice to see, and not that you had seen much of Taylor Green, but there are a lot of guys on this roster that you've seen. You saw in person last year, maybe the last 2 years, maybe in some cases the last 3 years. But seeing young guys like Braylon Russell, been in Arkansas, or seeing K.J. Jackson, a guy you've heard about, 4-star quarterback out of high school that you've maybe heard about in practices or you've read stuff about him. It was cool that you, for the first time really all season, either on television or listening to you, Chuck, you actually got a glimpse of these guys.
Here's the thing about Jackson. He's 6'4". This is a 4-star recruit out of Montgomery, Alabama. He threw for 130 touchdowns in high school. That's the 3rd most in the history of Alabama high school football. So this guy can sling it. And he's a guy a lot of people wanted. You look at the people that recruited him. I mean, it's a who's who in our league. And he's going to prove to be a very good get, I think, before it's over.
I think, as we talk about quarterbacks, and one thing that stood out to me is Green's comments about how he likes being coached hard by Petrino. Now, maybe this is stuff for the cameras. I don't think so, because he's been pretty consistent with that. That's important because that's not for everybody in today's game. If he's sincere about those comments, and I believe he is, that's going to work well for this football team, because not everybody blends well with Petrino's style of how hard he is on his quarterbacks.
Well, I think the thing that has separated him is what he did from the day that he got here. The things that he's done on his own, the things that he's done when he didn't think anybody was watching. And I can tell you there have been instances like that. I'm talking about an iPad on a trash can out there alone on the field. I mean, this guy's the real deal. And he came in here with the idea that he was going to learn in a hurry. Now, look, I think sometimes people have this idea that Petrino, when he's out there on the practice field, is just screaming at his quarterback the entire practice. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. What Coach Petrino is more than anything is a teacher of offense. And I'm going to tell you, he knows his subject matter very, very well. He is coached hard. I'm sure he is coached hard. I'm sure there are moments, particularly in the meeting rooms, that's where you get coached hard. And I'm not talking about yelled at. I'm talking about being put on the spot.
Yeah.
Why'd you do this?
Uh-huh.
And
being challenged.
Yeah, there are demands there, but I think it's what he's done on his own. I know it is. It's what he's done on his own since he got here that makes him the leader of this football team.
And here's what Sam Pittman had to say about that leader.
I thought Taylor, in some of those runs too, possibly could have been a lot further. Thought he showed a lot of poise today, and obviously that he's a great leader, and the kids playing around him believe in him.
So I think the question that a lot of Arkansas football fans are asking as we're getting a long ways out from the opening game in Little Rock, which is now Thursday. I've got to reset my clock because I had a countdown in my head, and now it's pushed up 2 days. But is he going to be better than KJ Jefferson? And fall camp, spring's not going to tell us that because if the offensive line is even a little bit better than last year, and if Taylor Green has the ability to escape and use his legs outside the pocket, and he can mesh. He doesn't have to be perfect, but if he can mesh a little bit with Bobby Petrino's offense, unlike what we saw last year, then if this offense is going to take a step forward, I don't know if this defense is going to take a step back, but you just wonder if you're an Arkansas fan, is he going to be better than KJ was last year? And
you won't know till you leave Stillwater whether that is even a conversation.
I think the most important thing is it a better football team? That's the most important.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Quarterback's 1 of 22. He's 1 of 11 when you got the ball, and he's the most important one. I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm not minimizing the position. It's very important, most important. But I think this will be a better football team, and part of it will be because of good quarterback play. I do believe that. Hey, I want to pause just for a second and talk about a new member of the Morning Rush family, Sawyer's in Fort Smith. Our friend Buzz Sawyer. If you're in the Fort Smith area, you know about Sawyer's. They've been in business since 1990. Sunrooms, patio covers, pergolas, driveways, windows, decorative concrete. If it involves the outside of your home, they got it down. Locally owned and operated. Now, here's what they've got right now that I think is pretty cool. New motorized louvered pergolas. They've also got 100% financing available. No jobs too large, no jobs too small. They're licensed and bonded, insured on all sizes of projects, commercial, residential, lifetime warranties, lifetime products, quality workmanship. Check them out. Your next job outside of your home, Sawyer's. And I think you'll be very pleased.
Baseball-wise, lost for the first time in SEC play against Alabama, a team that hit the ball really well against you. Hitting, unfortunately, has not been one of your strengths this season. I want to read some stats as we're at this juncture on April the 15th in SEC play. While Arkansas is number 1 in ERA and number 1 in opponent's batting average, on the hitting side, they're 9th in batting average, 10th in on-base percentage, 11th in slugging, 13 in hits, 9th in home runs, and 13 in runs batted in, too. This is an issue, and this is not one of those things where it's early on in the season. They've got a lot of time. I mean, we're in the meat of SEC play, and Dave got asked about, hey, what's the problem with your hitting? Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled this weekend, obviously, really from about mid-game on Friday, but we still had a chance to win yesterday. Today, not so much, but had a chance to win when guys aren't really producing. It's really, this weekend was more about timely hitting. We didn't get too many of them. That's kind of what cost us. Alabama got some big 2-out hits that kind of did it to us, put us away a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, you worry about it, but I think we're going to be fine. We need to get back, relax, and play good baseball.
They have road series upcoming with either a number 1 team in the country in Texas A&M who might pass Arkansas today in the rankings. They also have to play Kentucky, who has only lost 1 game in SEC play to this point. Guys, they've hit a lot better than they have at home on the road. Guys have performed, the young guys especially, on the road or at home versus on the road. This is an issue right now, and I don't know if it's going to get solved, to be honest.
Well, as you chase the dark clouds, Ty, I will remind you they are 30-5.
12-3 in the league. Correct.
30-5. Okay, they had a bad weekend. Quit chasing the dark clouds. Quit saying things like it's an issue and I don't know if it's going to be resolved. You know better than that. They're going to be fine.
Well, the reason I bring this up is because there's a lot of similarities from this team a couple years ago with Kevin Kopps. They had elite pitching, particularly an elite guy, Hagen Smith, Kevin Kopps, 2 guys. I expect Hagen to be a finalist for the Golden Spikes, if not win the award. But they had issues that were overcome by the pitching. But in postseason play, these sometimes are not resolved. You don't have enough pitching to keep away opponents' bats, even at home, which they lost to NC State. And if they are in this type of, again, category, 9th, 10th in the league batting average-wise, as we approach postseason play, I don't think that you can just presume that they're going to be fine. I really don't. Because if you look at the statistics that are very similar to what they were 3 years ago, it caught up to them. And I just don't. And I don't know if putting.
I think you're throwing a big blanket judgment on a small sample size of the season.
But it's not.
They played a 3-game series at Alabama tie. Let's see what happens moving forward.
But those stats are not of this weekend. They're stats of the entire season.
That. And yet, with all those problems, as horrible as they are, they're 30-5. I mean, come on. Stop this. You know better.
I'm going to feel the way I feel.
Okay,
I think there are a lot of other people that
but
feel.
I think I don't think there are a lot of other people. I don't think there are a lot of other people who are searching for the dark cloud with this baseball team.
I'm not searching for the dark cloud.
Yes, you are.
It was presented to me in the form of fashion what they did in Tuscaloosa this weekend.
Overreacting to one weekend.
All right, doom and gloomer.
Listen. Let's see what they do on the road in Lexington, Kentucky, and in College Station against
they
right
got
now.
a tough one this weekend at South Carolina.
Yes,
it's not going to be easy this weekend.
That too, but if the hitting stays the same, it's going to be an issue.
They're playing better teams, and the pitching's going to be better. The pitching's going to be better. Those other guys are on scholarship with NIL money too.
You're exactly right. But
when are the easy SEC weekends? Look that up for me.
That's a good question. I don't think there's many of them on the list.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, brought to you by WT Equipment. Now is the time and the best time to get a truckload of savings on trusted quality and efficient power of New Holland equipment. And it's all available at WT Equipment. There's locations all over the place, including right here in Northwest Arkansas. Hurry into WT Equipment and take home some of the best cab features you'll find in the industry and work all day in an environment where comfort in your operation is put forth in every detail. And it comes naturally with New Holland equipment. Right now, stop in and see the biggest selection of in-stock inventory at WT Equipment. 9 locations around our state. Find one online at WTEquip.com.
So we got some more Masters to discuss. Scotty Scheffler wins the second green jacket for himself in 3 years. He was fantastic for the majority of the weekend and also expecting a kid on the way sometime soon. So he had himself quite a weekend, but doesn't seem to be a big thing right now from our listeners. We've got maybe 1 or 2 texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline about it. I just don't know how many people were inspired by his performance. As good as it was and as clean as it was, didn't have a lot of people talking and buzzing, and I get that. But we'll discuss that. Also, we'll come back to some Arkansas football thoughts, and again, the spring football game this weekend, and we'll round out the show with Chuck with our SEC update as we close it out this hour.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG. Bring your own.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse.
Some serious crappie.
Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports.
The real deal. I would not be at all surprised if by the time we get to the eve of the season opener, he's not the #2 quarterback.
So that was Chuck talking about spring football on Friday. Just spent some time discussing what's going on in the transfer portal, which is not only going to be active for Arkansas football, hopefully the incomers and not the outcomers, but we'll see. I'm just expecting Arkansas football to lose a few guys, as every other SEC team will do. But you'll have some activity this week with Arkansas basketball, and we'll talk more about it as the week goes on. But I do want to discuss that coming up in just a sec and take Leonard and Van Buren's call as well.
Hot Take Monday brought to you by Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Here's what sets Wheels apart. Lifetime warranty on every new RV they sell. Grand Design, Forest River, Brinkley, they put a lifetime warranty in place so you camp with confidence. You know that that Wheels is going to 100% stand behind the RV they sell you. So there's no worries, and you won't find that offer anywhere else. That's Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Leonard has been patiently waiting here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. What's up, Leonard?
Oh, but man, how you doing on this fine cowboy morning?
Good, buddy.
My man.
All right. I'm going to tell you now, y'all was talking about the quarterback and everything, and he's a big part, but I just want to leave it at this. Arkansas should be a lot better because Pittman ain't going to have an offensive line like he had last year, 2 years in a row. He's going to mature those guys. So offensive line and the defensive line, and we need two good linebackers. If the offensive line and the defensive line both take steps forward, hey, we're going to have a pretty good season. That's what we're looking at. That's where the bread and butter is. If the hog calls on both sides of the ball are ready to do business, we're going to be just fine. I'll let you guys talk about it.
Thanks, Leonard. Defensive line wasn't an issue last year. You could argue that's the best depth that Sam Pittman's had since he's been on campus to that position group. It was the offensive line that was so overwhelmingly bad that kind of plagued the entire season, not just your offense. So I know they lost some guys in the defensive line, Chuck, but that's a position group that I didn't think was bad last year at all. In fact, I thought it was the strength of the defense, to be honest.
I don't know if they're as deep right now on the defensive line as they were at this point a year ago. I think they're still, and that's why that may be something that's addressed in the portal. I think their front guys are good, and I think they've got some good backups. I don't know if they're quite as deep rotationally, maybe as they were this time a year ago. And I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier. I think you can say this about all the position groups. Your front liners can hang with anybody. But there does need to be some depth added on that side. But now they've upgraded on the offensive line. And I'm just going to say it. I think they've upgraded in their offensive line coach. I think they've upgraded in their tackles. I think they've got a center that they're very, very happy with. I think they like the work habits of these guys, the leadership habits of these guys, and they're not perfect. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're going to go out and rush for 200 yards every game. I'm not suggesting that, but I am saying that I don't think at the end of virtually every ball game we're going to drive away thinking, man, our offensive line's not any good, which is what I think a lot of people thought driving away from the stadium many times last year. I don't think that's going to be a conversation piece this season.
Speaking of upgrades, I know everyone's wondering the timeline for upgrading the Arkansas basketball roster, which currently has Austin Blake on it and not a single scholarship player. You should expect some additions this week, and we'll again talk more about that coming up. But I wonder, we're talking about the front lines of both the offense and defense. Front court was a weakness last year. At Kentucky, front court has rarely been a weakness of John Calipari. And I would think that he's going to be able to get not just talented guards, which he's had numerous of them in his days in Lexington, but also guys, 7 feet, Big Z, maybe Bradshaw, who's already entered his name in the transfer portal, and others. He's got this, I think it's Queasley, who's already signed out of his national letter of intent from Kentucky. I'm probably getting his name wrong, but that is going to be just the kind of the surface, Chuck, of having talented front court players. I expect that's going to be a big part of this team this next year.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I mean, you're upgrading the entire roster, bigs, littles, everybody. I mean, yes, that will be a focal point. He will have big guys, and I would imagine he'll have some big guys who are low post big guys, and I would imagine there'll be some big guys who can, do some things all over the floor. So I would I don't know that, or I would not expect that there to be a front court deficiency. I would not expect that.
It is going to be funny to watch some of these players that were wearing Kentucky uniforms potentially that you hated last year, but now you're going to be cheering for. It's just It's the way of college sports, how things change.
Not any stranger than seeing Cal in a Razorback
That is,
pullover.
and that's
nothing stranger than that so far.
That's the truest thing that's been said all show this morning. And speaking of Cal, speaking of this Arkansas basketball program, our championship under construction is brought to you by Lindbergh Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For your real estate needs, go to lindberghteam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, and love better. Visit maverickmalemedical.com for more information. Chuck, for the first time in my entire life, I broke 100 on the golf course this weekend in Bozeman, Montana. Also hit my first eagle ever. There was someone in attendance that can verify that this actually happened, but it was cool. I've never done that before, and I'm slowly but surely getting better at this sport that drives me insane every once in a while.
So is this a fancy putt-putt course, or
there it is.
just a side of the road kind of deal?
It was a nicer course.
It's a good track.
Yeah, it was a good track, and I would like to go back.
It was beautiful.
Yeah,
I
it
bet
was
it was beautiful.
The mountains in the background. It was quite special. All right, we got our SEC update coming up. What else happened on the baseball side of things in this conference? We'll share that with you next.
Hot Take Monday is brought to you by Wheels RV, Highway 412 in Springdale, and online at wheelsrv.net.
Hey, it was BYOG. Bring your own guts.
Who can you trust to sell your home for the most money with the least amount of drama? You need a team of agents with decades of experience, commitment, and of course, tens of thousands in marketing. You need the Lindbergh team, home of Arkansas's only instant offer program. Get a cash offer on your home in only 72 hours. Lindbergh Real Estate Group is the #1 team in Arkansas with over $1 billion sold and voted best of the best 10 years in a row, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and now the River Valley. Find out more at lindberghteam.com. LIMBIRD.
The best selection of RVs is now even better at Wheels RV in Springdale. Wheels RV has added Brinkley RVs to the already loaded lineup of Grand Design and Forest River products. See the Brinkley Model Z, the latest innovation in luxury fifth wheels. And like always, every new RV comes with a lifetime warranty, so you can camp with confidence. So stop in and find out why Wheels has been voted best RV dealer year after year. Wheels RV, 5 miles west of exit 72 off of I-49 in Springdale. Seek, explore, discover with Wheels RV.
Testosterone levels naturally drop in men with age, often causing a lack of energy, anxiety, weight gain, diminished libido, and performance issues. Don't suffer in silence. Call Maverick Male Medical in Fayetteville today for more about testosterone or weight loss therapy. They focus on your excellent care, optimal health, and performance. Call Maverick Male Medical today at 305-8206. That's 305-8206. Or go to maverickmalemedical.com.
Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McLarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963.
Hey, Wes.
Billy, Hay is for horses.
I have an idea to bring in more customers.
What you got?
We yell on the radio, woo, pig suey.
We're going to call the hogs?
Yeah, we call them all in. Woo, pig suey. Come get your pizza at Jim's Razorback Pizza.
I'd rather not.
Don't you love the hogs?
Of course, but we can't call our customers hogs.
But they're hog fans, and our name is Jim's Razorback Pizza.
Billy, I love your enthusiasm. Look it, if you think we should do it, then let's do it.
Woo! Pixie!
What about moo instead of woo? We use Wisconsin cheese.
Really? You and them dang cows. Woo! Pixie!
Jim's Razorback Pizza. Blessed to serve you. Eat Jim's RazorbackPizza.com.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
It's 2024. Let's go see what's new at the Golf Nut. Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Woods and Irons, the world's first AI smart face designed using real player data. Cobra Dark Speed Woods and Irons, the fastest driver Cobra has ever built. Start the new year off with a lesson and feel more confident on the course. Contact Matt Brooks at 646-4430. The Golf Nut, 5121 Towson Avenue in Fort Smith, your #1 golf shop since 1994.
The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything: service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbors since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry. Stay in the slow lane, buddy. That's when I use the Sodies app to order my favorites and pick up in their drive-thru. They even offer a 10% discount on your first app order. Experience different at Sodies Wine and Spirits off I-540 on Phoenix Avenue.
Every day is worth celebrating at Uncorked. Cocktails, wine, craft beer, bourbons, and unbelievably great food. Uncorked on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodies.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
But except we've got SEC finals. Deal with it. They're the best.
In the SEC, it just means more.
I know one thing. The SEC just got a little tougher.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. Trusted pool experts and your source for backyard fun. Locations in Fort Smith, Springdale, and always online at burtonpools.com.
All right, we welcome you back for one final time here on a Hot Take Monday. Alabama beats Arkansas, takes game 2 and 3 over the weekend. Here is what Dave Van Horn had to say on the Alabama Crimson Tide.
They got a good team. I thought they had a good team 3 weeks ago. Conference play started, and they got off to a tough start, but they swing the bat as good as anybody we've played in conference play for sure, and they're going to win some games. Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of the guys. They've played hard. You know that it's not going to go your way every weekend. You know, this game is they can eat you up a little bit. So we just got to move on. We got to get better. I'll try to mix up the lineups a little bit this Tuesday and Wednesday and give guys an opportunity to play. And, you know, maybe something will jump out at us that, you know, somebody's going to show us they need to play or pitch.
So Arkansas, for the first time all season, and Chuck was right earlier when he said Arkansas is 30-5, 12-3. I'm not predicting that the sky is falling or anything. What I am trying to point out is when you look at the hitting categories where Arkansas is ranked in the SEC, most of them are 9th/10th or worse. And I know you can't be great at everything, but those stats aren't going to get you a national championship this year. And I know I've been the one, and I know Ruskin and Zach have talked about that this is the year, more Zach than Derek when it comes to this discussion. I want to be sitting here at the end of June discussing Dave Van Horn's first national championship. He's got some guys like Peyton Holt, who he inserted in left field this weekend, that you're hoping can be a spark plug for this team. Nolan Souza has been really good at one juncture of the year, led the team in batting average. The young freshman is just not the same hitter on the road versus when he's at home, and there's a stark difference and a stark contrast between the two. And they've, again, outfield-wise, it's not like they've been riddled with errors or anything. They're just not getting the hitting production. Maybe Peyton will provide that. I don't know. We saw it in Game 2. Didn't necessarily see it in game 3, but that's not him. No one hit the ball in game 3. I mean, he was 5-0. Who's that kid that blanked him for 8 scoreless innings? That all basically could have thrown a complete game. Zane something. He was phenomenal. And I thought that Alabama got the best, especially in a game 3 setting where the Crimson Tide had their backs against the wall prior to their game 2 win. But Zane Adams was fantastic for them on Sunday.
Yeah, the hitting hasn't been just outstanding this year. It was particularly bad against Alabama. You can credit that to their pitching, whatever. You just don't want to see that become a trend, and I don't think it will be. I mean, their bats were like ice cold this weekend, and like if that becomes a thing, like we see that more often, yeah, you can worry a little bit. But overall, this is still a really good team, and I don't think you're going to be able to shut them down like on a consistent basis like Alabama did this weekend.
No, Arkansas has a lot of talented players that can hit the baseball. They just haven't done it. You hope that comes around. Now, teams that you do have to go on the road and play are Texas A&M, who wouldn't be surprised. I was reading a few things. Wouldn't be surprised if they became the number 1 team in the country, which for some of you, that's good. You don't want to be the number 1 team in the country based on their weekend. They had a really good weekend. Listen to what they did. I think this was against Vanderbilt, if I remember this right. 15-0, 9-0, and 12-6. Had last week went 4-0. They're 32-4 and 11-4 in the SEC. And then the Kentucky Wildcats also, and they lost their midweek game, and then they swept LSU. They're 30-5, and they are 14-1 in the SEC. Both College Station and Lexington are places that you'll have to visit as the road team. There'll be hostile environments and hopefully some good baseball series. But the SEC is, again, there's a lot of cream. You got to go to South Carolina this weekend, which is no easy task. Chuck mentioned that earlier. We know that the Gamecocks have won national championships in the last decade or so, and this will be, I know the people really enjoyed watching Robert Moore do what he did there a couple years ago, and we'll see if this Arkansas baseball team is able to have success in Columbia, South Carolina this weekend. All right, that is your SEC update. It's brought to you by our friends at Vern Pools and Spas. They're celebrating their 46th anniversary. You're going to get great deals on in-ground pools, savings up to $12,000 in the construction starting in May. And you'll get $12,000 off Doughboy above-ground pools too, and $5,000 off Doughboy semi-in-ground pools. Hot tub started at an unbelievable price of just $39.99. Celebrate with us and pocket huge savings right now at Vern Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. At Vern, we do more than just build pools. We build long-term relationships. Again, Vern Pools and Spas, vernpools.com. So still a lot to discuss as we close out the show here this morning. Football-wise, again, for a lot of you, this was the first time you got your eyes on what you could have in store this upcoming fall. And I think that the wide receiver group is going to be better. I'm not 100% sold on the offensive line yet. I know you added Blackstock and you added Carmona, who we've had on these airways, and you added Nichols, and you're hoping that moving you got Broad back, and you're hoping moving Patrick Kudus inside helps his progression in that role. But you're still not willing to jump forward yet. I think I'm willing to jump forward just a little bit on the wide receiver room. It's because you like what you have there. Tyrone Broden back. Isaiah Satania back, who I think is going to take a step under Bobby Petrino with the crossing routes. And I'll tell you who might have 1,000+ yards. In fact, it's probably a hot take this morning, is Andrew Armstrong, who had himself a touchdown on Saturday.
To the right hip of his quarterback. Green's going to throw deep left side. Got a man in the end zone. Pass is caught. Touchdown, Arkansas. Armstrong. Perfect throw. 20 yards and a score.
He had solid stats last year. 56 catches, 764 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I think he's really going to expand his game under Bobby Petrino. Maybe that's wishful thinking. Maybe that's just hope coming from my vantage point. But that is something that I think a lot of people are expecting him based on Sam Pittman's comments, based on maybe what you've read and heard this spring football and this offseason so far. As Andrew Armstrong seems to have really stepped up, and you hope just injuries stay away. Arkansas escaped spring ball without detrimental injuries to their roster. Now you just want to do that through fall camp. This is not the most depth that Arkansas football has ever had. I think there's some guys in the starting roles that you do like, that you do think can play in the Southeastern Conference, especially ones that maybe came over as transfers and got another year under their belt. But it's still a wait and see. Okay, the Little Rock game has been pushed back to Thursday night. No one is going to have, how do I put this? No one is going to make an emphatic statement about this football team in 2024 following a Thursday night game against UAPB in Little Rock in War Memorial Stadium. And I like how Tommy said it earlier. It's kind of, it's almost separated from the season. It's almost like a preseason game, and then you got your other 11 games. But you don't play in Fayetteville till week number 3 against UAP. You go to Stillwater, Oklahoma for a matchup that I would expect to have a decent, I can't remember if they have the game time on it or not. I don't think they do. Maybe they do. But you would expect something out of that in the sense of you have a better idea of that football team. That's what people are waiting on. No one care. It was August 31st. I guess it's August 29th now. No one's just going to have these emphatic opinions about that. It's going to be after what happens in Stillwater, Oklahoma.
I don't remember us playing at Stillwater in my lifetime. I don't know if it's been that long, but I really don't. So I'm kind of excited for that matchup.
I don't think they've ever played there, to be honest, Big C. So the closeness and proximity, the similarities between the fan bases. I have some Oklahoma State friends. I know that you probably know someone that is a fan. I like it, and I think it's going to be fun this upcoming season. I'll tell you how it's no loss. I think there's a mutual respect there. There also is a mutual respect between fans of the Arkansas Razorback basketball team and fans of the Kentucky Wildcat basketball team. Now, there is a hatred. There is a disdain. There is an intensity level that has been upped after the hiring of John Calipari. But Kentucky also made their move this weekend, hiring Pope as their next head coach. Now, some have said this is the Kenny Payne of Kentucky. We saw what happened with Louisville and how that played out, not according to plan. They had a dramatic entrance, and I agree with Tommy, is what he said earlier, maybe trying to outdo Arkansas a little bit. Let's make one thing clear. It wasn't a weekend press conference for Arkansas. They were let know that people were told the day of, like officially, when it happened. Kentucky fans had a little more time to cry. And I'll give them credit. That is a state and a school that loves its basketball program. And even if you hate them, which I understand why you hate the Wildcats, they are revered, and I will give them that. Now, we're going to give them everything we've got when we go to Rupp Arena coming up, or they come to Bud Walton, and they know that too. But that is, in terms of the level of mutual respect, I think it definitely is there between Arkansas and Kentucky fans. But that was the big, again, SEC announcement of the weekend. I'm curious if a former Razorback, Jackson Robinson, who played under Pope at BYU, if he ends up coming over, what Kentucky guys, as we were discussing earlier, decide that Fayetteville, Arkansas is the best place for them to continue on their college basketball career. It's all going to be fascinating to see how this week plays out. Because like Arkansas football and the portal, that's the news this week. That's the meat. That's the juice, is what happens with not just Arkansas football players that are outgoing and incoming, but particularly the basketball ones. I think you might be more interested on the basketball transfer portal, and I understand why. You feel like you have a coach that can go get some marquee players, some marquee athletes, and some studs. That's one thing to think that. It's another thing for it to play out. But I think it's going to play out this week. And speaking of playing out and playing around, I want to tell you about our friends at the Hangout. Maybe you're a member of a gym right now, or maybe you're 4 months into your New Year's resolution and you haven't followed it one bit. Well, as someone that goes to the Hangout and really appreciates Noel, Ty, and everyone else over there, June and Lindsay and Vion, and everyone that helps make my experience and everyone else's experience great. You can do so many things over there. They've added like a futsal court. They've got outdoor basketball, which they're going to have leagues going. Now, indoor tennis, pickleball, and so much more. Maybe you're trying to get better at tennis and get better at pickleball. They have pros to help you out. They can do it all at 5400 Gary Street. Or check them out online at hangoutfs.com. That's the hangoutfs.com. They're also on Facebook, too, if you want to check out all of what they have to offer. Be a part of something different, something better that Fort Smith is needed. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out. All right, coming up later, Chuck Barrett's going to have his podcast, Give Me the Hogs Chuck podcast. Make sure you're listening to that on the Hit That Line podcast network. We're also going to have the Bud Light Morning Rush podcast that will be out shortly after the show, and more of our calls and text on the McLarty Daniel hotline tomorrow as we react to what we assume to be news on the Arkansas basketball side of things. And maybe we come back to what we saw in Augusta, Georgia at the Masters this weekend. Appreciate Chuck. Appreciate Tommy. Appreciate Big C and all of our listeners this morning. So that's going to do it for us here on Hot Take Monday. Back in these chairs tomorrow on a Bandwagon Tuesday. Don't miss it.
Hello there, homeowner. Roger Scott for Leaf Guard Gutters of Arkansas.